Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to some more of Tater Brain Pod's YouTube channel. For those not in the know, we are recording our live sessions of our 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign. It's taking place in the homebrew world of Daanal, Wisech. And yeah, we've been doing this for a while. I think it's a pretty talented group. And this session was a particularly fun one. Light on the combat, but heavy on the RP, and you got to get that in there sometimes. So I hope it is as much fun to listen to as it was to make and enjoy. All right, so the recap of last time. All right. Last session, we began with the festivities dying down after freeing the villagers of Hotma from Brucey. After a rest and a bit of prep, the party officially wraps up any loose ends they had going on in Hotma. On the road, deciding to head north, aside from Ankegs attacking the party and destroying the iron carriage, and murdering most of the party's livestock, the travel was otherwise uneventful. Logus was able to guide the party with ease through the desert, as well as discourage a few local predators from being too curious, and kept the party safe. After a few days of travel, as the party begins to run out of water, salvation can be seen in the distance. On the horizon, the desert sands turn to rolling hills of lush green. The first few buildings surrounding what you assume to be the town of Greenthorn, and that's kind of where we are now. So the rolling desert sands, heat and cacti with the hot bursts of wind blowing sand in all directions kind of gives way to rolling green hills and the sweet smell of grass and a more calm, cool climate. At first, the small farms and ranches sparsely dot the landscape, usually a barn alongside some fenced-in livestock or a large plot of planted crop alongside a small home or two. The farther north you travel, the more frequent you find these buildings, and they slowly but surely become less and less sparse until you finally reach the town of Greenthorn. A few dozen buildings line either side of a road cutting through the town. Several large homes near an inn and tavern, alongside a few businesses. At the end of town looks to be a stone structure, on top of which a deep purple flag with a rearing silver dragon at its center, the banner of the Silver Queen. So you guys just kind of have arrived at Greenthorn. It's not a huge bustling metropolis, but it is significantly bigger than Hotma. There's several businesses on Main Street, as well as a few large homes from wealthy, maybe nobles or politicians. You're not sure. And it's got a decent sized marketplace with like I said, several different businesses. This is kind of a cattle farm community, so there's a large market, and you can see livestock, hear livestock rather. And as you kind of arrive in Greenthorn, it is officially the end of 3 days or so of travel through the desert. So it is about dusk. The sun has not set. It is just setting. The workers on the ranches and farms around are kind of wrapping up their day and getting ready to call her quits. But you guys kind of stumble into this community. Where do you guys go from here?
Before, so about maybe 30, 45 minutes out from the city, Glader would have used his belt of, where is it called? Shit. Sorry, I'm trying to find the name. girdle of scales, and changed his appearance to that of a bronze dragonborn.
Okay, great. You switch to bronze. That's still fire or what?
But yes, it's still fire.
Okay, just
Yeah.
making sure I know what your resistances are.
And also, could he see uh, the Rustback Mountains? I'm assuming he could probably see them from here, where like off in the distance.
Off in the distance for sure. I mean, you know that your hometown, like Gethmara Keep, is at the base of the Rustback Mountains, and they are just barely visible on the horizon. You know, otherwise you're kind of in just like a rolling hills, kind of a plain area.
Yeah, so like as I kind of like crest a hill, and he's like switching, using his magic to shift his scales to a bronze color. He just kind of gazes off into a distance at the mountains that house his prior home, kind of solemnly looking off away from the group for a moment before continuing onward.
Okay, give me a perception check as you kind of stare off absent-mindedly.
First roll of money. Not good, not bad. That is a 13. No, middling.
You don't notice much about the mountains, but you do kind of pick up that you can tell from the past, like in the various clans, who the warriors are, who the soldiers are, and you could tell that there are like several silver soldiers, we'll call them, going to and fro about the town. It looks like maybe they're off duty, but they're visiting the stores and potentially the taverns or inns. They're just kind of they're not thickly planted amongst the population, but they stand out. They have a deep like purple and silver colored like uniform that they wear, and you can tell that for sure that it wasn't always this way.
Yeah, he would just make his way back to the group. Um, I see a lot of uh, Silver Queen's soldiers throughout the town, so we should tread carefully as we, make our way in, because we're looking for rebels, the Holy Fangs. We don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves from the wrong people. So, just keep an eye out and be careful who you speak to. And then I guess should we make our way in? Probably all thirsty as fuck right now.
Well, the best place to find information in a town is typically at the bars, so I could use a drink. I mean, we have spent 3 days in the desert.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
And Blade pulls out his lute and just says, and perhaps we can find an audience as well.
That might not be a bad idea. People tend to open up more when think they're just hanging out with a friendly traveling bard. You might be able to gather some useful information.
Not to mention a little bit of coin to pay for that, or pay for the round.
That too.
Okay, so you guys, as kind of approach town, you get down. Basically, it's just one street. I mean, it's definitely a small town, a little bit bigger than the village of Hotma, but it's not, so populated. There's probably a few thousand people here in the area, but the area spans a good distance as most of the people are farmers or ranchers. They're not all here on like Main Street, but there is about a dozen buildings on either side of the one road, and on either side of the road, actually across the street from one another, there are a couple of taverns. One tavern is known as the Black Rat, and it looks like a drinking establishment, and the other, right across the street, is known as the Silver Stable, and it looks to be an inn tavern combo.
Can Blade make a perception check to see which one might be divier?
Certainly, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay. Son of a gun. 14, 16.
So, of the two bars, the Black Rat looks to just be a drinking establishment. It looks like there's not, you come there for booze and maybe a little bit of food, and then you get the fuck on type of a situation. While as the Silver Stable, it does have a bar. It is like a tavern, but it also has a couple of floors worth of rentable rooms. So the Silver Stable is the higher class establishment.
So two things Glader wanted to do. Also, as they were walking in, after he changed the color of his scales, shit, how can I do this? Okay, so because he has the emblem of his clan on his shield and on his tabard around his waist. So, not wanting to, broadcast that, he would take off the tabard, kind of flip it inside out, and then lay it over his shield. So, like the backs, like the inside of the blank inside of the tabard is hanging over the front of the shield. Covering both emblems, and then he would hang his shield on his back, just so trying to like avoid people seeing those. And then I also wanted to, as we're walking through the town, Blade's kind of looking around, trying to inspect the taverns. Glader would be keeping an eye out to see if anyone is paying any special interest to them as they walk in.
Okay, give me a perception check.
All right. God, it's a natty 1 for 2.
I feel like Renwick would probably be looking around too, since we're trying to figure out which bar to go to, and there's Silver Queen banners flying around, so he's not exactly going to walk into town and just not pay attention to anything. So,
okay, give me a perception check yourself.
14.
Okay, so Gladier, you kind of you're looking around town. You kind of do the put your hand up as like a visor through the sun and kind of peer off. And Renwick, you notice kind of behind Gladier, definitely coming in your guys' direction is a silver soldier, it is a silver soldier wearing like a very lavish like purple cape, indicating some kind of rank, and it looks like a couple henchmen, but they are actively staring at you and very, very much like speed walking to your location as you speak. They walk up and, "Ho there, travelers! What brings you to the humble town of Greenthorn?" And he kind of him and two underlings, also silver soldiers, come to kind of inspect the party. They're giving you a once over.
Upon entering town, Locris would have cast disguise self to look like a half elf.
Okay. The three of them, the two underlings are actually white dragonborn, and the silver dragonborn with the lavish purple cape is the one asking the questions. He points specifically at you, Gladier. You travel with these lot? What are you guys doing? Where you come from? What are you here for? It's my job to ask questions, you know?
Can I make an insight check on him to see if he's like, is he being aggressive or is he just being suspicious?
Sure, go ahead and give me an insight check. Glader, his question was kind of directed at you. What are you here for? What are you doing?
I got a 17.
As far as you know, this is pretty standard procedure in most towns that the guard will approach the newcomers. But as far as being aggressive or not, you just kind of met him. We'll see. Kind of depends on the party, I think.
Hey, Glader, you got your mic on mute.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been talking this whole, or not the whole time, but like I was talking.
Sorry.
Why do you keep getting interrupted? It's my own fault. Yeah, he just kind of looks over towards Silver Dragonborn leader. We're coming up here from Hotma. These are some traders, and he just gestures to the rest of the party. We ran into some trouble on the road. I was hired to guide them up here so they could, sell their goods and, their wares and everything. But we ran into some trouble on the road, and they actually lost all of their goods. But I told them I'd bring them up here regardless, and try and help them get at least to safety, even though they're not going to be able to sell their wares after being lost to some terrible creatures out in the desert. But I'm just here guiding these con folk up to this beautiful town that you so humbly guard.
Okay, go ahead and give me. I want to say a deception check with advantage.
Okay. Deception.
Can I attempt to aid him by like saying something as a follow up to that?
I guess that'll depend on his role whether he needs aided or not.
Fair enough.
He already has advantage.
That's a dirty 20 with advantage.
He kind of looks you guys up and down, and his soldiers are kind of assessing you. Awful lot of weapons for merchants, but we don't get many coming from Hotma aside from your kind. No sheep, no goats, huh? Milk's some good shit. Bummer. Well, you ain't gonna find any handouts here, so I hope you didn't come all this way for nothing, because our innkeeps will put you outside with the pigs for cheap, but that's about it. You better have the coin to spend. Don't be bothering our merchants if you're beggars. I'll be keeping an eye on you, but go about your business and keep your weapons to yourself. Silver Queen don't take no shit. We'll take you down in a heartbeat. And he just kind of gestures to his lackeys, and they march off down the road.
That was a close one, but we should definitely be careful.
We should find a time to discuss what our backstory is. Should anybody else keep asking questions, that way we're all on the same page. I'd hate to tell multiple stories and get ourselves caught out. But I don't know. Should we even call you Gladier? I mean, is there a chance they'd know you by your name?
There's definitely a chance. We might want to come up with a new name.
How about Draelg? We'll just say your name backwards.
Or my dear.
Or what?
Or my dear.
What if we just call you something like Gore? Gorr? while we're in this town.
Whatever works is for me. Let's Gore's just fine. But yeah, why don't we hit up one of these taverns, find a quiet spot in the corner, and we can discuss our next move.
So Blade's kind of looking at both of these taverns, and he looks over to the Black Rat and just kind of says, "This place looks a little seedy. Maybe as a starting musician, you got to work from the ground up, and I think this place is it."
Well, I've never been shy about dive bars. I mean, I was raised in a tavern, so and he'll just kind of make his way in.
All right, you guys can make your way in. It's still not quite, I guess, prime drinking hours just yet. The shops are still open. The farmers and ranchers are just kind of getting to the point where they're finishing up their days in the field. So as you guys kind of enter the Black Rat, aside from the barkeep, you guys are alone. There is no nobody has entered and began drinking as of yet, but a grizzled-looking half-orc barkeep with a very large scar on half of his face and an eye patch stands behind the bar, polishing a glass, and he looks your way with his one good eye as you enter. He kind of grunts, a little early. You don't look like locals to me. Come on in. What could old Gutsy get for you?
Chris will walk in. Round of ales, my friend.
All right, sounds good. Coming up, he jumbles a few different cups on the counter and tops you guys off. Starts handing you each a nice, cool ale, and he says, "Well, 5 ales, that'll come out to about we'll say 6 copper."
I'll give him a silver.
Perfect.
You have anything edible around here?
Well, I guess that depends on your definition of edible, but I got something that'll keep you on your feet for a bit. It's not quite ready yet, but I make a big ass batch of stew every night. It just depends on what the farmers want to bring me tonight to work with. I let them pay their tab in produce sometimes, so I can sell a few plates. So you'll have to wait a bit, but I can hook you up with at least one meal this evening.
Once it's ready, we'll take a stew apiece.
Absolutely, sounds great. I'll send them your way. Well, it brings a bunch of out-of-towners our way. You guys look awful armed for your standard traveler. He kind of gestures to the whole party. All has weapons.
Well, it's a good thing we were. Our friend Gore here helped us cross the desert, and I can't say we fared well. Thank God we had all the weapons we did. We got attacked by fucking roaches, melted our carts, and killed our cattle. Our horses, rather. It's wasn't an easy trek, but we're just thankful to be here, in all honesty.
That's a shame, but I mean, if you're in the market for cattle, you came to the right place. There's some good stock around here, both cow, horse, goat. Just about any kind of bovine creature you could think of. But there's so many good ranches in the area. If you're on the market, you couldn't be in a better place, I tell you.
Well, I guess it's my halfling luck that we'd stumble on this town then.
I mean, okay. He kind of just stares at you.
Tell me, my friend, is there anywhere where you would have scholarly or those knowing in folklore or such?
I mean, we get some good travelers around these parts. It's pretty wise, I would assume. I've heard a good tale or two here. But I mean, you mean like you're looking for like a library or something?
A library, just somebody who likes to read more than others. Old folks who like to tell creation tales or things that make people roll their eyes.
I mean, not really. There's a temple. You could potentially go talk to them. They might have some old scrolls or tales or something, documented. But aside from it's mostly just kind of a small church. But I mean, if you're looking for like a library, like a real library, I mean, everybody knows that the Wormhearth. It's in the forest. Wormwood Forest. It's the it's a clan of Green Dragonborn. They're pretty snooty types. They're hoity-toity, and they're the ones. One of the more magically inclined clans. Usually you encounter a Dragonborn wizard around these parts, and he's a Green Dragonborn, and there's reason for that. They have not only a large, vast library, but probably the biggest accumulation of knowledge within the country of Hordenshire. They boast about their wizardly ways, as wizards tend to do. There's also an academy there for training of magical arts, so that would be your best bet. That's looks a good bit a ways, but about a week's travel or so, I'd guess.
Thanks for the info, and I'll toss him 3 coppers.
Nice. He bites one to make sure it's real, and then pockets it.
What was the name of that clan?
So the city that he mentioned was Wormhearth. Here, I'll drop it in the chat. And Wormhearth, the city of Wormhearth, is in Wormwood Forest. So he passes out some ales. He goes about tending to his bar. It's not quite closing time, but you can hear the activities of town kind of winding down. You can hear farmers coming in and cattle coming in and whatnot. And yeah, it's getting close to sundown.
Yeah, I think Glader would just take his ale and try and find a solitary table in a dark corner before it gets too busy in here.
Renwick will walk over to Blade and pat him on the shoulder and be like, "Well, looks like you best be warming up. You got to bring a crowd in, buddy."
So with that, Blade is going to kind of just shake the sand out of his lute and kind of post up, kind of near where Gladiator is going to be. Maybe a little more centralized, but just start playing his lute. Start, trying to gain the attention of people that might be nearby or outside.
Okay, give me a performance check.
$22.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you start laying down a fucking sweet melody. And even though nobody's in the bar, old Gutsy approaches you. I mean, the better the talent, usually the better the take. The longer they're willing to stick around and drink if they got a little entertainment. How's about we make a deal? You do a little performing for me, and I'll cut you in on some of the take, huh? What do you think? Drinks on the house too. For you, not all of your friends too, but for you.
So Blade just sees him and nods in agreement, just kind of reminisces a little bit of his times back where he's from, and says, "You've got a deal."
All right, I'll cut you in on tonight's revenue. You keep your tips, but I ain't cutting you in on the night's revenue to not be here. You better be one of the last people out. It's me and you closing this thing down. You hear me?
Blade says, "Understood."
All right, deal. Sounds great. And you go back to jamming your loot, and he goes to wiping down the bar, anxiously awaiting customers, which do slowly start trickling in. As the sun kind of disappears over the horizon, several farm hands and ranchers kind of slowly make their way in. Dirty from a day's labor, but looks like to be some humble down to hard-working folk coming in for a drink to blow up a little steam after work. So what are the rest of you guys doing? So Gladier's posted up in the corner. Blade's kind of working his loot magic. What's everybody else got planned?
As people are funneling in and kind of getting settled in, I think Renwick's gonna kind of sit there with his hat tipped low over his face, just sipping on his drinks, but intentionally like trying to listen to the conversations to see if he picks up anything of interest.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and give me another perception check.
17.
Most of the talk is about a hard day's work, but you do notice like a common theme, a common grumble. Not many people care for the higher tax rate. Apparently, a tax rate has been recently risen again. You can gather, and it's not like something they focus on. But almost everybody that walks in is, "Oh man, that was a hard day's work." Yeah. Look, I had to pay 20% in taxes again. Like, damn, 20%? That's another raise. Yeah, shit. Yeah, I know. It's getting rough. The Silver Queen. What can you do?
Well, mechanically speaking, is there anybody that's particularly good talking to people aside from Blade while he's entertaining the crowd? Because I feel like if people are kind of pissed off about this, we might be able to get some information on what happened, how long the Queen's been here, and all that.
What do you want?
Yeah, I'm good on that for the most part.
So you're gonna try to kind of do some eavesdropping, or are you gonna try to talk to people?
Yeah, actually, I have a decent persuasion, so I mean, Renwick's gonna look at the rest of the table while Blade's kind of getting the crowd in there and everything, and just say, I hear people seem a little bit mad about the occupying forces, so perhaps we should split up and see if we can't get lucky with some information. Something tells me that the townsfolk will be a little bit more inclined to talk to us, since they don't seem to be fans of the Silver Soldiers out there.
Sounds like a plan.
As Blade's kind of playing, can he just take a look around just to kind of see what, like, kind of maybe like the majority of races that are here in the bar, if there's kind of like a certain group that's here?
Okay, yeah. Give me a perception check.
17.
So this community looks to be a community of mixed Dragonborn. There are several different colors of Dragonborn here, along with a lot of humans, and it seems a few halflings. So you guys aren't really too out of place. But you do notice with that in the crowd, There are, it looks like at least a few silver soldiers in the bar drinking, off duty. It looks like, they kind of blend in with the crowd as well. They're not particularly good or bad. I guess varies on the individual, but there is a handful of off duty guards sitting here drinking with everybody as well. Gladier, I'm gonna say you've burned an hour off of your 8-hour time limit on that belt. By the way.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I think he'd probably also, after spending some time observing, probably seeing Renwick and Locris walk off to do their investigating, he'd walk up to Logus, wherever he's standing. Guessing he might be still at the bar, but he just kind of he'd like saunter up next to him and just lean against the bar very like nonchalantly and be like, "So have you noticed anything yet? I saw a couple of those silver soldiers walking in. Think we should be careful about what we're talking about and who's around us when we're talking about it."
Agreed. I have noticed a silver soldier. Can I make a perception check to see if if I overheard anything while I was chilling at the loft?
Yeah, is there something specific you're looking to listen to in the crowd? Are you trying to overhear some of the soldiers talk, some of the farmers and ranchers? Are you just listening or are you listening for any type of information in particular?
I think I want to try to overhear what the soldiers are talking about.
Okay, yeah, give me a perception check.
I'd say 21.
Aside from work, these are kind of like the grunt soldiers, it seems. And, they're just kind of bullshitting, not only amongst themselves, but with the other, like, ranchers and farmers. They're not talking any specifics, but, they, as far as what's being said about, like, kind of a bummer that they raise taxes, they kind of just like shrug at it, like, yeah, I know, like it's not, it's not something we want to we want to enforce, but it's the rebels, if they continue to interfere in ways that they are, unfortunately, we all have to pay for it. It's hard to run a country, and it's harder when we have active terrorism going on, and it's just it's a real difficult, sensitive situation, and trust me, we'd rather not come take taxes either, but it's our duty as soldiers to the Silver Queen, and may her reign be a long one.
So Logos will say to Gladier. It seems that they too are pretty unhappy with the taxes, but it seems that it's a direct cause from the rebels causing havoc. So in turn, the Queen raises the taxes on the common people as sort of to repay the damage and possibly as a form of punishment. It seems that even the soldiers hate enforcing this.
That's interesting. Maybe we can try and get some more information out of them about the holy flames that we've heard so much about from back in Hotmoth. You want to help me try and see if they know anything about these rebels? We probably shouldn't name them outright, because that might set off some alarms, but we might be able to get some information about the rebels, possibly enough to pinpoint their last known location.
I'm not very good at talking to people, but pretty good at reading their faces, so I'll definitely have your back if you're going to do some talking.
All right, why don't you just follow my lead? See if you can get a read on them while I'm asking some questions.
Perhaps we should take a little something to ease their ability to talk. Maybe we should take a couple of hours over there to break the ice. I've always known people to be more willing to talk when they have a little alcohol in them.
That is a very good idea. And he just turned to the barkeep, call over Gutsy, and try and get a few ales so we can, bribe, persuade the silver soldiers.
Hey, do I see the guards that questioned us earlier in here?
No, they're the only guards that come to this bar are kind of the grunts. You wouldn't see like a commander in this bar, but let's see here. Rewind for a second. What did you just say, Gladiator? I had something on the tip of my tongue. I spaced it.
He was just gonna buy a few ales to bring over to the silver soldiers.
Oh yeah, that's right. So after you are you requesting that you're gonna send a round over to them, or are you gonna bring them the round yourself?
I was gonna bring them myself, me and Logus.
Okay, yeah. Gutsy pours you a trio of ales, and it costs you a couple copper.
Okay. I know Renwick and Locust were gonna do some stuff too, so I don't know if you want to switch back. I don't want to hog all the attention.
You're good, man.
As you're kind of getting your beers poured for you, let me flip over to Locris. What do you think you're doing in this moment, Locris?
I looked for some of the townspeople that that look more chatty and also probably a little bit more beat down.
Okay, yeah. Give me a perception check.
Let's try this one. 19.
Okay, you notice a couple. There's a few small crowds in here by now, but particularly you notice that there's like a table with some older, kind of grizzled men. They all look kind of dirty, hard working in the field, and they're just kind of enjoying drinks and speaking in hushed tones to one another. And then there is on the opposite side of the bar, there is another table, equally kind of rough looking worker types. The clothes are very dirty, but they're all younger, like much younger, like possibly barely, able to drink ale in a tavern, very young. And all of three of them seem to be just enamored with the beautiful strummings of Blade's lute. They're like giggling loud and they clap in between songs and they cheer to him. And so that's what you see. Blade, go ahead and roll me a D4.
D4. It is a 1.
So they kind of pull their resources together and manage to drop a silver coin in at your feet.
Blade sees this and acknowledges it and kind of snickers and just keeps on playing, but kind of tilts his head towards them and bows a little bit and maybe plays a little something extra fancy just kind of for their donation.
Their eyes get big and they giggle to one another. Oh, he's paying attention to me. Oh my god.
So Chris is going to go to the group of younger people and kind of sit by him and say, "He's not too bad, is he?"
No, he's fabulous. I wish I could play like that. I wish I had some kind of skill other than shoveling cow dung and cutting hay.
I traveled up here with him. We got in just today. I actually almost didn't make it.
They all look to you with surprise. They're like, "You know that guy? That's awesome. You should introduce us."
Well, I possibly could, But a man of such talent, he gets so many people wanting to meet him. It's really he likes to introduce himself to locals and really get a feel for a town. So really, we're looking for people who have their finger on the pulse, if you would say.
I mean, come on, that's us. We know things. We lived here our whole life. We outmaneuver these old geezers day in and day out. What do you need? Okay, we'll trade. We'll help you. You help us. Get that guy to come over here and chat us up for a bit.
And while this is like
Oh,
all going down, Blade maybe make like an acrobatics jump like onto a table and just kind of start playing.
Yeah, give me an acrobatics check.
23.
Oh man, you spring up, so light and graceful, and kind of continue your jam. And to the awe and amazement of these younger folks, they're like looking up at you from their bar stools, like wide eyed, like jaws dropping. One of them gives you a good elbow, Locris. Hey, thanks, man.
well, once you never want to interrupt a master while he's working his art, but once he takes a break, I'm sure I could have him come over. I guess really it's just we're trying to figure out what's been going on. We see all these guards people, and when we're out on the road, we kept hearing stories about bandits and people not obeying the law. And are the roads even safe to travel?
I mean, mostly, as far as we know, like there's not a lot of rebellious activity anymore. We rarely. I haven't seen anything here at Greenthorn. There is talk of rebels freeing captives. Freeing criminals of the law. There's a lot of talk about that. There's also a lot of talk about them doing things like stealing supplies or just destroying them outright. These would be things that we, in the long run, as the people, kind of have to pay for. I mean, the queen raises the taxes because she needs more grain to feed her soldiers because these damn rebels keep burning down the grain silos. It's kind of a hateful process, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
Not everybody agrees.
that does sound pretty damn horrible. You work all day only to have that work really end up meaning nothing. I feel for you. In fact, hey barkeep, bring around for the table on me.
He nods to you, and old Gutsy comes over. Oh, yeah, drinking with the youngsters, huh? I should have brought the strong stuff. And he throws down a round of ales for you guys, and he wanders back off to his bar.
So as I'm planning his tour around Gordonshire, where would you say most of these I guess rebel riffraff have been attacking? Just so I make sure. Because when you see a man with such as him, we have to protect his fingers and especially his instruments. So I want to make sure we avoid these hot zones.
Well, that's just it. I think that's why it's like there's so many soldiers in all the cities because I think they don't know. I don't think anyone knows. As far as we've been told, it's a reckless band of rebels, but they're not very large band. Very rarely does any rebel activity happen with more than a single to maybe a pair, very rarely a trio of these holy fangs. He whispers the word to you. Holy fangs. There's only a dozen or so is what we hear, and they all they rarely work together. They all work towards the same cause, but they're not, maneuvering a dozen men at a time. That's why they're all well hidden. They're probably all throughout Hordenshire trying to do good by their people in their neck of the woods, but it's kind of a lost cause at this point. A dozen rebels versus the vast armies of the Silver Queen. I understand where they're coming from, but it's kind of a lost cause, I think. You do take note that these three people that you're talking to are humans. They are not dragonborn.
All right, can I get an insight to see if they're being genuine in how they're talking, or if they're maybe hiding information?
Yeah, give me an insight check.
10.
As far as you know, they're being genuine.
All right. Well, you gentlemen, you enjoy the show, and while the man's busy playing, I got to be the one to go shake the hands to make sure his name spreads far and wide.
Hey man, thanks.
And then-
Thanks. If you need anything else, come by. Especially after he's done playing. Maybe we'll get another round.
And then I walk away.
As you walk away, all three of these kids pull another silver coin out of their pocket and tip Blade.
So that's going on. If Renwick wants to do his, and then I'll go talk to the grizzled old men after that.
All right, Renwick, what do you got going on?
Were there any halflings around? Preferably in a dark corner.
There's a couple halflings, talking loudly at the bar, kind of.
Or actually, you know what? Can I make a perception check to see if there's anybody that looks like particularly maybe not trying to be noticed, maybe hood up, kind of seedy, perhaps roguish figure?
Absolutely. Give me a perception check.
14.
With a 14, you notice a guy, kind of, it's just like naturally drawn to the darkness, staring out, kind of watching the crowd. And as you approach him, it's Logus.
Fair enough. As he's walking up, he'll just try to play it cool, like he meant to walk in that direction, and he'll just sit down at the nearest table that has an empty seat. And yeah, what do I see at this table?
So there is actually no empty tables. The pleasant melodies your bard friend has been playing has packed the house. There might be an empty seat at a table here and there, but you notice a lot of people have came out to watch Blade play. He's doing a particularly fancy performance. Speaking of Blade, give me another performance check as after several hours of playing. Or not several, at least a couple though. But also Gladier, a couple of hours more fade into the night on the timer on your belt, I guess.
So I'm at like hour 3 of 8.
Yeah, you've burnt three of 8 hours.
Gotcha.
And that was a 26 on my performance.
So as you're just ripping it on this, you're standing on the table. You were just jamming this, a melody and whatnot. After you finish, you kind of have to just take a brief break to grab a glass of water, refresh the vocals and whatnot. And as you stop and take a big swallow of water, like half the bar just like erupts and clapping, like, "Whoa, man, that's fucking, whoa, that was high end stuff. I can't believe it." And a handful of these patrons come and throw some tips at you. Go ahead and roll me a d10.
E-turn. I think this one says 0, so that's got to be 10.
Okay, so you notice it adds up to 10 gold pieces, so you could just write 10 gold pieces down. But these people are kind of tossing coins at you, but it would seem that maybe this isn't like the richest establishment or I guess patrons, because most of what is being tossed at you is not gold but silver and copper. So you get 10 gold pieces worth of silver and copper coins thrown at you, which is quite a bit of coins, but doesn't quite add up,
Gotcha.
Renwick, that's kind of what you see is the crowd being charmed by Blade as he kind of expertly navigates this loot through the bar. And you don't notice anybody out of the ordinary, we'd say. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
It's 18.
Well, with an 18, you do notice that looks to be like maybe a passing party similar to your own. It looks like a bunch of kind of out of place, out of towners. They're not really farmers. They don't look to have been working in the fields recently or anything. Just kind of a ragtag crew of either travelers, adventurers, some maybe a merchant crew. You're not sure, but there's definitely not locals here like yourselves.
Well, I guess I'll make my way over to the not so locals and see if I can't strike up a conversation, and I'll pick up a round on the way. I guess one for each of them.
All right, it'll cost you about 6 copper.
Sounds good.
You make your way over to them. It looks like most of them are elves. There's 5 of them in total. 2 of them are full elf, and the other 3 look to be half elves, but essentially a party of elves. It kind of looks to you as you bring some mead over. Oh, thank you, traveler. Who might you be?
Well, my name's Turner, and I just happened to kind of stumble into this town. We came out of the desert and had a rough go of it, and this just happened to be the first oasis we found and needed a drink. But I can't really get quite a vibe on this town. It seems like it's almost been very lightly taken hostage in some way. It's a rather hostile atmosphere. Do you have any insight on that?
He says, "Well, hello, Turner. I am Somner. Yeah, I did notice that as well. We, unfortunately, lost a bit of our crew to adventurous exploits, but we are on the market for some livestock. We needed some new horses. We came here on foot, and of course, we arrived just after dusk, which the stable master is closed for the evening, so I imagine we'll try again in the morning to travel forth. But I did notice that most of Hordenshire is, well, in the hands of the Silver Queen. It's not always the most forgiving place to be,
Yeah, she does seem to have a bit of a stranglehold on this place. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of disgruntled people around here. Do you happen to know how long it's been since she's taken the area over? I'm not familiar with the town.
Oh, it's been a while now. It's been years. I mean, she's been the reigning ruler of Hordenshire for years, so it's been one heck of a ride, I guess. We're not locals. We're just kind of traveling through, but we heard this was the best place to get horses in the region, so we came this way. But yeah, it's definitely been some time, at least 2, maybe 3 years.
Oh, that is quite some time. What is it exactly your party does when you're not hunting for livestock to replenish your wares.
Why, we are adventurers. We are out to make a bit of coin, and, well, I've had a bad bit of luck lately. But I imagine the course will right itself, and we will find adventure elsewhere.
Oh, that's I suppose a nice outlook to have. You know, tide's always changing.
Right. Well, it is unfortunate, but I think we'll be better off leaving Hordenshire. This Silver Queen is a fine ruler, I'm sure, but the politics are just not for me. I'm not. We try not to associate ourselves with factions or governments that perpetuate slave labor. We find it leaves bad taste in our mouth.
Well, I have to say we're in agreement there, and he'll kind of like cheers him real quick and take another swig. And he'll say, "Well, if you're adventurers, perhaps you're well traveled enough. I heard tell of a town. I was just kind of curious about. Have you heard of Wormhearth? Something about a magical academy or something. Are they a bunch of magicians out there, or is there any stock to be taken in that story?"
It's an acquired taste, as living with, Dragonborn usually is, but it is my favorite place in all of Hordenshire, I must admit. It's lovely there. Nice architecture. It is a small town. I mean, that's not much bigger than this, Greenthorn. But the town is basically centralized around fishing the river and hunting in the forest. So the village that holds the few buildings of relevance in Wormhearth are it's a modest village like this one, but yes, there is much to be learned there from the clan of Green Dragonborn. They are quite clever in what they have managed to do with their arcane ways, and they do have quite an impressive library as well.
Well, it sounds like you know the area quite well. What perchance was the name of that clan?
Which clan? The Green Dragonborn clan.
Yes, the ones that run the academy.
Of all of the things that I've learned, to speak Draconic was not one of them. We just refer to them as the locals or by their name of Lord this, Lady that. We're not entirely sure. It seems that the conglomeration of the Green Dragonborn there is many clans, much like, say, your kind would have a last name. Last names vary. So does the clan's name. So it would be probably over a dozen clans of Green Dragonborn that have come together to make the community.
Ah, well, I appreciate the insight. It seems like a place I might want to visit in the future, especially if you're recommending it as your favorite place in the area.
It's grand and great wine. Oh.
I wouldn't shy away from a glass of that. Although there's something homey about just having a glass of ale in a hole in the wall like this. After all, it does often have the best musicians. And he kind of tips his hat to Blade while he's playing.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? He kind of motions. You see like a couple of you don't catch it exactly, but like a nudge maybe, or like a tap from one of his nearby associates. He kind of glances at you and then glances back to him and then glances back to you. And Sumner turns back to you. He's like, "Pardon me, Turner. I don't mean to be rude, but we do have a bit of sensitive information to talk about, and it would be best if perhaps we caught up again at another time."
Oh well, I'd be rude if I didn't give you your space. Then you've been more than accommodating. And he'll cheers him again, and get up from the table. But he's gonna hang around kind of nearby, see if he can't very subtly eavesdrop. And since he's a small creature and there's a large crowd in here, I think it should be relatively easy for him to get lost in the crowd.
Okay, give me a stealth check. Meanwhile, while Renwick's trying to stealthily make his way into the crowd, what is anybody else doing? Anything in particular?
Did I did I see Renwick talking to those elves?
Oh yeah, for sure. He wasn't like trying to hide it or anything.
Do any of them look any familiar to me?
Give me a perception check.
Oh my god. That's a 26 total.
With a 26, you kind of inspect these elves. You kind of give them a once over. These are high elves. These are not wood elves like your people would be from Brightwood. These are elves, from Nightwood. These are elves from the neighboring nation of Brightwood. These would be elves from the nation, like Locris is from. They're not, you don't recognize them, but you could tell like what type of elf they are. They definitely hail from somewhere in Brightwood.
All right, I'm just gonna like clock them and just stick to following the leader.
Okay, Renwick with a 23 stealth. You are the shadows. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
14 again. Rolling a lot of 12s tonight.
As the dull roar of the bar kind of increases, it's kind of hard to pick out all the details of what they're saying, but you get a sense that one member of the elven party is a little unhappy with Blade taking all the spotlight, and you're unsure as to why, but he dislikes that Blade's playing.
Fair enough. Well, I guess I'll make my way over to Gladier, since I'm not really picking up on much, and just, I guess, meet back up with him and see where he wants to go. Whether we should head back toward the tavern or watch Blade just slay in front of this crowd.
I think Blade is also, well, I kind of imagine him, he's still on the table, just kind of rocking out, but he's going to, if possible, I guess, maybe jump to another table, maybe one that's closer to those, that group of the younger folks that were obsessed with him.
Okay, yeah. Give me another acrobatics check.
Oh no, 7.
Okay, I'm going to need another performance check. As you kind of go to jump from one table to the other, you weren't kind of aware, but there was some spilt ale, and it's slippery. You lose your footing, and you tumble down to the floor.
Oh, please, 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 please. Oh no. Well, it was still 11.
So as you lose your footing and tumble down to the floor and you crash land, the music just briefly just kind of stops and the whole bar is quiet. And then erupts into laughter. Like, whoa, did you fucking see that shit? He's talented and he's funny too. Oh, goddamn. Roll me another D10.
D10, where are you? Oh my god. Jesus, there we go. 3.
So once again, it comes in the form of copper and silver coins, but you amass 3 gold pieces worth of copper and silver.
And when he kind of fell to the ground, I'd imagine I could see him kind of like maybe quickly like switching over to his hand drum and just kind of getting up and kind of looking around, trying to play it like he meant to do that. Just kind of like,
Okay, give me another performance check.
that is a 28.
And just like before, you're off. You are just strumming away, and it's a familiar tune, and you kill off the laughter almost immediately, and have regained the crowd's respect as you masterfully drum, an old war ditty. Do you have any lyrics to go with this, like, war ditty, or what are you like singing about, or are you just like, is it pure like instrumental?
So for right now, I kind of viewed it as purely instrumental.
Sick drum solos, got it. Yeah, you're just raging through, and people are just like they're into it. It is quite the pleasant beat.
Kind of knocked out of breath.
All right, so as the night kind of wears on, another couple hours go by. Hey, you better note that, Gladier. You're on hour 5 of 8, and now the longer it seems that old Gutsy was right, because the longer Blade continues to entertain the crowd, the longer that most of them stay here. You can imagine, from what you've gathered of the hardworking folk, that morning comes early around here, and it's a hard labor field day. So they're potentially risking feeling shitty tomorrow during work to get an extra earful of Blade's talented drum solos.
I think Glader was going to go over to some of the Silver Soldiers with a few casks, or not casks, but mugs of ale or mead.
Before we walk over there, Logis is going to tell him, perhaps we should secure a couple of rooms before they either get filled up or you have a place to retire and chance you get a little tired.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But perhaps we should go ahead and head next door, see if we can't acquire ourselves a room or two in the inn. It looked like they had plenty, a couple different floors worth, and who knows what we'll find there.
Well, Renwick, the idea or Gore and I, Gore and I are going to talk to some people. Perhaps he can secure us some rooms for the night.
Yes, I think I got a few hours before I should really head to bed, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I can't be up too late.
Yeah, you'll turn into a pumpkin at midnight, I'm told. Well, let's go see if we can't find you a bed. And I guess he'll wait for a break in the songs so that he can let Blade know that we're heading across the street to try to get some rooms, since he's got to stay and play.
Later. I'm sorry.
I'll stay and make sure Blade doesn't get into any trouble.
Personal security.
Demon backup, nice.
And I think Glader and Logus were gonna head over to the Silver Soldiers, see if we can glean some information from them.
Okay, yeah. As you head across the... oh, wait, you're going to head to the Silver Soldiers after you bought around?
Yeah, I think Renwick was going over to the Silver Stables across the street to see about rooms. And Logus and I were going to talk to the Silver Soldiers with a round of drinks.
Okay, yeah. You approach them with a round, and they kind of look at you like, give very, like, kind of surprised, like, what the fuck? Yeah? Thank you, I guess? Appreciate that, yeah. Keeping the peace. It's hard stuff.
Well, yes, I just want to come over and give my thanks. I'm not local here, but I travel through every now and then. I'm actually a guide through the desert, so I know you kind folk are, keeping this town safe from those nasty rebels, and I just want to, give you some thanks for keeping us citizens and, the normal people like me, protection.
Well, it's good to be appreciated, yeah. It's not always easy, but, it's been pretty peaceful here for a long time. We don't really get a whole hell of a lot going. Once in a while, we gotta go do some raids, kick in some doors and shake a few folks. But, it's been some time. We got minimal rebel activity here. You know what I mean?
Glader just kind of grab a chair and like flip it around backwards and like sit down and lean over the back rest, be like, "Oh, well, please do tell of these raids. That sounds very interesting, a lot more interesting than my line of work. I'd love to, hear a little bit about your, you know, glorious lifestyle that you're living."
Give me a persuasion check.
Yes. What is my persuasion? Oh, my persuasion is actually good. Shit, and then I roll this shit. 11.
Well, we appreciate, that you appreciate us. It's about time we get recognized for all our hard work. But if you want to know the business of the Silver Queen, you're gonna have to enlist there, bud. We're not exactly the detail-given type. Thanks for the beers, though.
Oh yeah, yes, of course. He kind of like leans back a little bit, puts his hands up, like not trying to offend. He's like, yeah, of course. I'm not trying to overstep. I'm just enthralled by the beginnings of your story right there, and I guess I just got a little bit excited. I always wanted to be one of the part of the Silver Queen's entourage. But the money's just easier for me to find, guiding locals in and out of the desert. But speaking of, as I said, I guide these people in and out, and a lot of my job depends on security. So I was wondering if you had heard any, tip-offs about these awful rebels I've been hearing about. Hearing they're striking supply caravans and all sorts of nasty things, and I just want to make sure, if there's any information that you're able to provide to us local folk, not confidential or anything like that, but just any tips to keep me safe and to keep these kind citizens safe back here and traveling in and out and bringing business into this town that you're so graciously protecting.
Go ahead and give me another persuasion check.
Lucas is gonna say, as traveling merchants, it would be beneficial to us just to know where to avoid where those people, these rebels, might ransack us for our goods that we're taking to and from. That's all. Trying to give Gladier advantage.
Yeah, go ahead and roll with advantage, Gladier.
Thank God. That's much better. Holy shit. That's a 17 with advantage. It would have been an 8.
So they kind of chuckle and they all kind of sip on the beers and look back to each other. They kind of nod. Well, I mean, I could tell you a thing or two, but the hard work of a soldier, this comes with the courageous, honorable ways and not a very big paycheck. So
What do you say? I don't mind telling you a little bit of this or that, but it's gonna have to come at a cost to a little more jingle in our pockets.
Without even hesitating, how many silver soldiers are there at the table?
There's 3 of them at this table.
He's gonna drop like no hesitation, just reach into his coin purse and pull out 30 gold and just with 2 hands like slide it onto the table and kind of like separate it, give them 10 gold each.
You drop 30 gold on the table, and this dude's eyes bulge. He's like, whoa! You notice that one of them is a silver dragonborn, one of them is a white dragonborn, and one of them is a human. But their eyes all bulge, when you kind of drop that on the table. And he's like, oh, shit! Oh, all right, that's what I'm talking about. That's right there. That is appreciation, gentlemen.
Look, yeah, like I said, we appreciate you protecting us lowly citizens here, and I just want to, do my part and figure out all the information I can to keep us safe.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry. It wasn't, but maybe a week ago. Was it a week ago? He looks to his buddy and he kind of nods. All right, yeah, about a little more than a week ago, the Silver Queen sent a particularly good band of the bounty hunters that kind of roam Hordenshire down towards Hotma. So if there was any rebels down there, rest assured they were likely captured and detained. Been expecting him to be back any day now, or maybe he pushed through to Scale Shores. It would make more sense. Probably got him, closer to the Silver Queen's territories if he headed south, but that wasn't but maybe a week ago. I'm surprised you didn't know about it coming up from Hotma, though. Not a lot of people go to Hotma. It's hard to find it. It's in the middle of fucking desert, so it's not the most ideal place. But you don't have to worry about any travelers between here and Hotma or any rebels, as far as we know. Yeah, hasn't been an attack for months.
Interesting. That's yeah. No, I guess we're possibly on the road by the time they that happened. But you haven't heard of any sort of activity with the. He just kind of looks around and then leans in close to them. You haven't heard any sort of activity of the Holy Fangs, have you? I've heard they are extremely dangerous, and I want to keep my customers safe.
They kind of bust out laughing. They're like, "Yeah, well, yeah. Like if we did know, we wouldn't tell you, kid. That bounty's ours. 10,000 gold pieces per member. Are you kidding me? I hear there's like a dozen of those sons of bitches. That's 120,000 gold. Oh man, I would love to fucking catch one of those guys."
Oh, trust me, I'm not trying to get into any sort of fights if I can avoid it. I may look big and tough, but I avoid fights when I can see it. I'm just trying to keep my customers safe. But I mean, if you really can't get any sort of information to me, but that's all right.
Can I make an inside check on the guard, if just to see if he even knew, or if he was being truthful about knowing where the holy things were?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Oh my god, hot dice in the role playing section. That is a 25.
As far as you could tell, he's being truthful. He very, very much appreciated that bribe, little grease to loosen the lips.
So maybe kind of while this is all happening, Blade is going to kind of slow his drumming down a little bit and just kind of gain the attention where he can kind of speak out over it and people can hear him, and just kind of go, thank you all for your help tonight and your donations. My name is Blade Silverstring, but as well as you might love up my playing, it wouldn't be possible without this kind fellow over here. And he points towards Gladier. and says, "If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here playing tonight. So if you can help him in any way you can, please do. Please be hospitable to him. Peace and love."
They, the crowd kind of, they all give Gladier a good eyeball. And they look back to you and they shrug, give you a light applause at your speech. Renwick, as you we're going to cut over to you for a minute. As you run across the streets to the Silver Stable, it's a multi-story building. The bottom level looks like to be like a tavern. It's definitely more of a higher class establishment. It's got more of like a winery almost feel rather than like an ale house. It's sparsely populated with a few patrons, but the bar across the street is packed thanks to Blade. But there are roughly a dozen individuals. They look to be maybe the higher ups in the town. Not so many dirty farmers, ranch hands. More nicer clothes and kind of like a fine establishment. And a graying dragonborn. It looks like he's probably a silver dragonborn, but he is very, very old, wrinkly, and kind of hunched over. But he seems to be the one tending bar. He greets you as you come in. "Welcome, stranger. What can I do for you?"
As he's walking up, he'll remove his hat as a sign of respect, and just kind of place it on the bar and grab a seat, and he'll just say, "Well, I figured I'd stop in for a drink and see if you have any rooms available. I've got quite a few friends with me, so might be worth your time if you've got the space."
"I got rooms and I got drink. What's your fancy?"
Do you have perhaps anything a little bit stronger, a whiskey or anything of the like?
Certainly. He pours you a shot of a strong top shelf whiskey, and that'll be a silver.
Well, that seems like a fair price. And he'll take his time. He'll sniff the whiskey, check the lacing on it, swirl it in the glass a little bit, kind of try to be a bit fancier rather than just slam a shot, and then he'll just sip it and say, "Well, what's the room pricing like for about 5 people? Or do you perhaps have a suite that's got multiple rooms in it?"
Top floor is just one big room. I could do single rooms if you want, just one bed per room. But the top floor is, I guess you'd call it a suite. There's several beds, couch, big kind of meeting quarters. You take that for a couple gold a night, and that'll include breakfast.
And what did you say it was for the individuals?
It'll be a single gold piece for a single room, and each room also comes with breakfast. Or you could rent the big suite upstairs on the top floor for 2 gold pieces.
Well, yeah, we'll take the suite then, and he'll put down the 2 gold.
It's 2 gold pieces a night, but we do have like a week minimum rental on the suite, so it will be 14 gold total if you want the suite.
Oh, well, are the rooms the same way? Or are the rooms on a nightly basis?
Rooms are nightly, a gold piece per the night.
All right, well, we'll take 5 of your rooms, and then if we decide to stay in town a little longer, then perhaps we'll take you up on that sweet deal.
Certainly.
And he'll kind of wink at him and tip back the whiskey. And all right, so it's 5 gold.
And yeah, you each now have your own private quarters at the Silver Stable Inn.
So before, so kind of Glader feeling like he was kind of got all the information he was going to get, he's going to stand up from the table Well, it was nice meeting you folk. Just thank you again. And then he's gonna turn
Thank
his
you.
back.
We always appreciate being appreciated. You can come back and appreciate anytime.
He's just gonna turn his back to them and kind of face Logus standing behind him and whisper in his ear, "I need your elf eyes looking about right now." And then turn around and say a lot louder than necessary. Now, if you hear anything about those holy fangs and you want to give me a little tip, you just let me know. And then he's gonna walk off.
Okay. The guards go back to their conversation after kind of a perplexed moment, but yeah.
Can I incite them to see if they were perked up a little bit to see if they do know anything about the holy things or not?
Yeah, you can give me another insight check. Meanwhile, Renwick, is your plan to return to the Black Rat, or are you going to hang out in the Silver Stable a bit?
But I think I'll hang out in the Silver Stable a bit.
Okay, the barkeep hands you 5 separate keys to 5 separate rooms.
Okay, perfect. I will secure those in my bag just to make sure they're safe, and then I'm gonna hang out at the bar. I mean, the party knows I'm over here, so it's only a matter of time. Blade's probably wrapping up, and he'll just sit there. He'll order another whiskey and offer to buy the Dragonborn barkeep whiskey for himself, and see if they can't, chat over a glass and just kind of share a little information about the area and the goings on around here.
Okay, yeah, it'll be another silver for the whiskey.
Not a problem.
Give me, we'll say...
Actually, so 2 silver since I'm buying him a drink as well.
Correct.
Cool.
I'm going to say, go ahead and make a persuade. Tell me what your kind of information you're kind of trying to pump out of this guy, and give me a persuasion check with advantage.
I'll ask him about the type of clientele that passes through here, if he's seen anything out of the ordinary or heard any whispers. Just mention that the town seems on edge, and there's these people talking about these strange holy fangs people, and the whole thing is just very confusing to me since I just got into town, and just see if he gives up any info. But that is oh shit. What is my persuasion? +5. I rolled a 19 for a 24. And yeah, 24 is the higher one.
He kind of, at first he takes a shot with you. And, as you say something like that, he looks kind of nervous. He looks around the bar casually as he looks back to you and says, I could tell you were kind of a classy one by the way you took that shot. Yeah. We don't get many, I was worried I was going to have to toss some drunkard out of here by the looks of you. You're pretty awful dusty. Must have came in from outside, But he leans over and whispers to you, just loud enough for you to hear. We shouldn't talk about stuff like that here right now. He kind of winks at you and slides you a shot of whiskey on the house. He kind of after
go ahead.
He slides you the whiskey and kind of leans back and stretches. And, well, Silver Queen's word is law, and I don't really have time to educate non-locals about our custom and ways. So you better figure it out quick. You know what I mean? And it sounds like he's saying that out loud, but as his facial expressions aren't matching his voice, and he kind of gives you a wink. But it sounds like he's saying those things for not you. Meanwhile, let's cut back over to the other bar real quick. What are you guys doing here? We've burned probably another hour, Gladier, so you're cutting it close. You got a couple hours left on your belt. But is there anything you guys want to do here? The crowd is just now starting to thin out. There's a lot of laborers here who have to work but have been kept here by good drink and Blade's music. Also, the round of sheep stew. It comes out like a mutton stew. Comes out for everybody. Donated by the farmers, so you guys would have a decent enough meal. But
Did I rolled a 17 on the inside on the guards? I was trying to see if they seem like they really know anything, or are they just kind of bullshitting us.
say that one more time.
I was trying to see if they really like when he.
Oh yeah, your
That's
insight
what-
check. What was your insight check?
Yeah, a 17.
As far as you know, that they're being honest, but you also kind of insight that like they're not very high ranked, and judging by their mannerisms and the way they talk, they're probably a little less than honest living type. They're easily to take a bribe to look the other way, but for the most part, they're being
Also,
honest.
Gladier said that he kind of mentioned the whole things loud. Since I was kind of standing back a little bit, did I see anybody at all in the bar kind of perk up or maybe get a little nervous at this mention of that?
Give me. That's a good one. Give me a perception check.
It's at 18.
I mean, the bar's pretty packed, so you don't see anyone react per se to Glazier saying that, but the most of the focus in the bar is actually on the bard playing music. So only a handful of people around Glazier when he said that actually heard him say it, and none of those people looked particularly one way or the other.
So, go. How are you on time before you need to get to bed?
Yeah, I think I might take my stew to go and head on over.
So I kind of pull them to the side, and it seems like the guards would be willing to share information or perhaps do something untoward that they weren't supposed to for bribes. Nobody in the vicinity seemed to react to the holy things. Yeah, but those low-level grunts are not to be trusted. They work on bribes and they have no honor.
Yeah, it was worth a shot, but maybe we can find some more information elsewhere. I'm probably gonna head over to Silver Stables and see if Renwick has some rooms ready. Pretty sure I'm running low on time here. Maybe an hour, 2 hours at the most before things get a little hairy. So I think I'm gonna head on out. And then he's just gonna kind of turn and catch Locris and Blade's eye and just give him a little nod and point over across the street and just walk out of the dirty rat, black rat.
Black rat.
Walk out of
Okay, yeah. So Gladier kind of takes off. Logus, Locris, and Blade. Blade, you're kind of stuck playing, but you do have a wrapped audience. Go ahead and roll me another D10 and a closing perception check.
Oh, yes.
I mean, not perception, performance. Sorry.
Gotcha. All right. For the D10, we've got another 10.
Another, once again, it comes in the copper and silver coins, but you do get 10 gold pieces worth of copper and silver thrown at you, which is actually quite a lot. You're talking about hundreds of coins.
Love it. And performance.
Correct.
All right. Please let it be good. Please let it be good. And I would imagine as he's kind of like wrapping this up, he again, maybe I'm just shooting myself in the foot, but I'm going to jump up on the bar to really kind of finish this up.
Okay. Give me an acrobatics check and a performance check.
All right, acrobatics. We are looking at, let's see, what do we got? Okay. 22 for acrobatics. And for performance, please let it be good. Oh, 13.
So yeah, you make the leap with like all the grace of deer or a gazelle. You know, it's a smooth, like astounding transition from floor to tabletop, and you continue to kind of bust out an additional drum solo, and you create like a pleasant kind of calming beat. But the crowd does kind of seem to slowly start losing attention and dispersing the bar as the night is kind of late. But only a few stragglers remain, and the few that remain do kind of look to be at least halfway participating in listening to your music and a late night conversation. Okay, so Locris and Logos, you guys are still in the Black Rat. Is there anything you guys want to do before we switch over to the other bar for a spell?
I'll just find Locris and um, you're gonna stay here with Blade, Renwick, and our friend Igor went to the other bar to the Silver Stables to secure us a room and maybe see what else I can find out over there.
Yeah, we don't need him getting jumped crossing the street later, so I'll make sure he stays safe here.
I'll probably just slink to a corner by the door just so I can be like either here something pops off or maybe run across the street or wherever it's at in a moment's notice. Just kind of post up there for.
Okay, sounds good.
And when we get to it, whenever we kind of close out the night here at the Black Rat, Blade would just like to do a quick discussion or just a quick talk with the barkeep.
Okay, yeah, the night's winding down, but there are still a few patrons straggling about, so we won't fully close it out just yet. But we are going to switch over to the other bar. Gladier, you walk in to chat. It looks like Renwick and this much older silver dragonborn is sitting there chatting up Renwick about this, that, and the other thing as you enter the Silver Stables. You notice that there aren't a whole lot of other patrons here, and those that are here look to be well dressed, well groomed. It is a much different crowd than the dirty farm hands across the road.
Do I still see Renwick sitting at the bar with the barkeep, kind of chatting him up over a glass of whiskey?
Correct.
All right, I think he'd, just kind of observe the room as he just makes his way over to the bar, kind of keeping an eye out to see if anyone pays him any special interest as he walks over to Renwick.
Okay, yeah, give me a perception check.
Righty, perception. Not bad. I think that's 15? Yep, no, 14. 14.
As you enter, you notice Renwick and the barkeeper kind of chatting it up. The
other people don't seem to pay you any notice. They're a lot. You notice that they are. Some of them are like reading by like a candlelight. A few others are in a conversation that looks to involve a graph or maybe a map, something they keep, some parchment they keep shuffling back and forth and are, kind of slightly arguing over. And aside from that, it's just a few kind of loners. They're all just kind of sitting around in their hoity-toity dress, smoking a pipe, drinking a cocktail or an ale, and just kind of relaxing.
Yeah, he's just gonna, saunter up to the bar and drop down into a stool next to Renwick and look at the barkeep. Oh, hello there. I was hoping I can get a nightcap in before I head up to bed. I believe my friend right here got us some rooms.
Oh, yeah, that he did. Absolutely. What's your poison? What do you like to drink?
I think some mead might be nice. End the night off on something sweet.
Yeah, he pours you a mead and he says, you friend of this gentleman right here? That one's on the house.
Oh, thank you kindly. Get Renwick talked you up something sweet, huh?
He's, quite the whiskey connoisseur, Nice guy. And, Renwick, go ahead and give me a perception check as, he kind of cleans down the bar in front of you and Gladier, kind of clearing a spot for your friend to sit.
That is another 12 for, I think, the fourth 12 on a perception check that I've rolled tonight.
Well, it comes out to what, a 14 or something? Did you say 12 total?
Yeah, 14, sorry. Rolled a 12.
You notice that he kind of just wipes down the bar in front of you and Gladier. But as he turns to help Gladier, he like stops abruptly. Yeah, let me get that mead for you. And he leaves kind of his rag that he was wiping down the bar. He just kind of leaves it sitting all globbed up there in front of you as he pours Gladier a mead. A couple of copper, but that one's on the house. This gentleman here, he's been quite the conversationalist. I could tell right away the way he sniffed the whiskey and inspected it further before sipping upon it. Me and this guy, we're probably gonna get along just fine.
Can I look at the rag? Did he leave it there intentionally? Like, does it look like there's something under it?
Give me a perception check.
Seems like some clandestine spy shit. Perception is not my best. Fuck me sideways. It's a 5.
It's a rag, and it's wet, and possibly dirty. He just wiped the table with it and then kind of flopped it in front of Renwick.
I mean, based on the way that this conversation's going, like when he does that deliberately, Renwick's gonna just kind of look around, like make sure nobody's paying him much mind, and then just kind of he'll go to like set his glass back down and kind of shift the rag over to see if maybe he's hit anything underneath there.
As you do that, you do find a key. He has slipped a key in the rag, and it looks to be to like a storage key or like a cellar key, maybe. Well, I'll be right back. I gotta double check on a few things. Gotta take a run downstairs. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back shortly. Make sure you keep your butts right there. And he points to the chairs. Renwick, you notice he kind of gives you a wink, and he walks off. And it looks like he goes down a set of stairs, and you hear a large latch as he opens and closes the door.
Renwick is gonna I guess finish what's in his glass and stand up and look at Gladier and like just a little bit louder than normal so that if anybody's listening they hear him, and he'll just be like, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go use the little boy's room. And then he'll just kind of saunter off as if he was going to the restroom and try to slip away to go, I guess, follow that guy down there with the key that he slipped me.
And Glidier's gonna spin around and lean his back against the bar, so he's like against the bar table, so he's now facing the entire bar and just like keep an eye out, like keeping watch.
Okay, give me a perception check as you kind of keep watch over the bar.
What dice did I use? Because they've all been random. I mean, I guess that's dice that are random. That's a whopping 6. God, Glidier's just not perceptive at fucking all.
What was that again?
It was a 6.
Oh, yeah, as far as you know, same patrons when you walked in, and not many of them are paying much mind to you or Renwick. Renwick, you do find that the door he went through is locked, for sure, and that the key he gifted you slips right in. You turn the key to the lock and make your way down into kind of a dusty old cellar. Smell of wet dirt assaults your nostrils as you kind of go down this staircase. And a small concrete room underneath the bar. It looks like a bunch of kind of like similar to Tark's place, a bunch of dry storage, shelves full of sacks of grain and various vegetables and things stored. You notice the elderly Silver Dragonborn is actually in pretty damn good shape, as he is kind of hunched over a bit, and but he throws a keg under his arm and turns to walk up the stairs, and he turns to you and says, "Listen, kid, you seem like a nice guy, and I can tell you're not from here, but I gotta let you know, you gotta be careful of who you talk to and what you say around here, because there's some of the higher ups in this town that they wouldn't think twice about putting you down or fucking marking you up for one of them damn bounty hunter squads to come chase down. So you can't be talking so open about things like the holy fangs. That gets people right pissed off. And the laws that these damn bounty hunters are bound by, they could just kind of decide you're a rebel. They don't really have to have a reason. But if you're truly curious, we might could have a meeting later and talk in safer places. But I can't leave my bar too unattended for long. It'll draw suspicion. But if you're truly curious, maybe we should have a conversation.
Well, I think that's certainly a great idea. Perhaps my friends and I meet you back down in the cellar after the bar's cleared out this evening.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Well,
he runs back up the stairs.
I'll find my way back down here, and I guess we'll set up a time before we leave so that we know when to meet back down here.
After closing time, I have to come back down here to lock everything up. So once the last patrons leave, that'll be when. Sometimes midnight, sometimes later.
Fair enough. Well, I look forward to that conversation, and he'll kind of make his way back up, but he'll make sure that he doesn't come out of there at the exact same time as they return to the room, so as not to be suspicious.
Okay, yeah, he returns to the bar and sets the keg down, taps it, and turns back to Gladier. Oh, so what brings you all this way? You another one of them hermit types, or what are they? Shepherds? You know, the goat people, the goat dragonborn. That's you, right?
Yeah, well, I come from that town, but, yeah, I'm more of a guide. Yeah, I like to lead people in and out of the desert, safely. And I know the lands. I know how to get through it relatively unharmed. So I just, take traders, merchants, anyone on the like, and guide them through the harsh desert that plagues us to the south.
Yeah, I've heard tales. Heard tales about monsters of all kinds of coming out of that little hole. Big ass ankegs, hyenas, giant hyenas. I mean, like, hyenas aren't bad enough. There's got to be fucking giant hyenas. You know, it's pretty awful place. You know, but somehow those shepherds make a home in the middle of that fucking godforsaken land. Power to them, I guess.
Yeah, I feel that. There's not a whole lot there other than goats to herd and to quiet life, I suppose. Someone wanted to get away and live peacefully.
Yeah, well, you know, peace, it's worth it if you can get there. But if it wasn't for all the recklessness of our youth, what would peace really mean to anyone, huh? Yeah. And he kind of pours you and Renwick another shot of whiskey on the house.
I don't think I actually got your name. My name is Gore.
Oh, nice to meet you, Gore. He reaches out to shake your hand. He says, "They call me Telvin."
Kelvin, well, it's nice to meet you. I appreciate the drinks, and I'd love for you to let me pay for at least one of them at some point tonight.
Well, it's good to have a bit of conversation now and again. Most of my clients are higher end, and they see me more as like the help. They don't really talk to me.
Yeah, well, they're missing out on some good conversation if I have anything to say about it.
He smiles and kind of nods, and you know that you're now probably working on your last hour of your belt, and with that, we're gonna cut back over to the Black Rat, with Blade's performance kind of dwindling. So does the crowd, and essentially, it dwindles to the point where it is just old Gutsy and Blade and Locris and Logos. You guys are kind of left alone with the bartender. And he's starting to clean up. He starts sweeping the floors and setting all the chairs on the tables and wiping down the sticky ale spills and whatnot. He seems to have a fucking good pep to his step. He's whistling a tune and he's awful goddamn happy for some reason. He, as he goes about cleaning, he whistles. He looks over to Blade. Well, you are quite the artiste. I was worried I was gonna have to charge you for breaking a table or two, but let me tell you, we made a great haul, and I guess I did kind of pledge some of that to you. So here's your cut, kid. And he throws you a pouch of coins.
Blade catches the pouch and just says, "Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine."
It comes out to 25 gold pieces.
And he kind of turns and looks at him and goes, kind of looking at him and looking at his loot that he has. He goes, "It's been a kind of a long night of playing, and I'm not sure if there's anyone of this specialty around here that you can tell me about, but do you know of anyone around here that could potentially work on stringed instruments or luthier of some sort?
I mean, we got a couple shops here in town. You might get lucky. They're closed now, but they'll be open in the morning. And aside from, I don't know. We don't really specialize in much around here. It's just kind of general wares, but you might get lucky. I know that there's an occasional bard or two that come through here and play for us, but maybe once a week, a couple times a month if we're lucky. It's we don't get a whole lot of it entertainment wise in this neck of the woods. It'd be nice to hire somebody permanently, I guess. If I could pack the house like that, I split the take 50-50 with you. If I could make 25 gold a night, buy one of these big mansion type houses here on Main Street instead of living in my quarters above the bar.
And Blade just goes, this has been one of the best crowds that I've seen in a long time, personally. But as a true musician, I need to keep wandering, and I kind of venture from town to town. I'm a wanderer. So, but if I'm ever around again, I'll definitely be playing here if you'll have me.
Oh, absolutely, we'll have you for sure. You're one of the better bards I've seen in some time.
And Blade will kind of give a deep bow and thanks and appreciation for the opportunity and kind of start making his way out if he's cool.
Yeah, he's kind of shutting down, and as you kind of make your way out, he turns to Locris and Logos, I'm open as long as you're buying, so you're welcome to hang out and buy around, but if not, I have to ask you guys to move along.
We were just waiting for our friend to get done anyway, so you have yourself a good night.
Okay, he kind of waves to you guys as you exit, and he follows you to the door and kind of locks it behind you and snuffs the candles and the lights and things. And you notice that most of the town is pretty dead. Most lights are snuffed. There might be a candle, the glow of a candle in a window seal or whatnot, but aside from the inn across the street, the Silver Stable, there are pretty much no lights on in town. So as you guys kind of meet up with the lot, you guys walk into the Silver Stable, you notice Gladier and Renwick having some drinks with an older silver dragonborn. Gladier and Renwick, go ahead and give me some Constitution saving throws.
Is it con save?
Yeah.
Buddy, am I getting drunk?
Oh, that is an 8.
12.
So, Gladier, you notice that this barkeep Telvin is pretty heavy-handed, and he's pouring the strong stuff. But so you're aware your drinks are pretty potent. Renwick, however, you are for sure a little bit buzzed. A few shots of whiskey later, and you're feeling it. Like a guy wasn't fucking around. He really did pull some top shelf whiskey down, pour you a shot of it. It's doing its job.
Can I take a look? I just want to look at the bartender's Telvin, his general demeanor. Does he seem nervous or on edge, or is he? Because I know he's been paying special attention to us, and he pulled Renwick aside, but that is a lot of alcohol for asking no money. So I think later at this point in time is getting a little suspicious, and I kind of want to get a general check of his demeanor.
Okay, give me, we'll say, an insight check as you're kind of chatting with this dude.
Oh, that's not great. Not bad. It's a 12.
So you can't really put your finger on it either way, but you do notice that he's being kind of overly friendly. But aside from not really letting you or pay for any drinks, it's nothing too outstanding.
All right. Well, seeing that I was getting close to the end of his time limit, Glader is going to excuse himself and head up, grab his key from Renwick, and probably head up to his room as the rest of the party walks into the bar.
As you go to reach for the key, Renwick like waits until the very last second and then pulls it away. And then you reach for it again, and he's like slips it down his sleeve, and he's just fucking with you at this point because he's drunk and he's having a good time. He like makes you earn the key.
He's gonna turn to Locris and Blade, and perhaps we should get a table off to the side and maybe not let it be known that we're all one big group just yet.
Blade will nod, kind of follow his lead.
Glader
just kind of
was there.
we'll just kind of post up the three of us at a table off to the side a little bit, but still where I can have eyes on them.
Okay.
Glader just kicks Renwick up, like hand under each of his arms, and just like lifts him up out of his chair and holds him in the air. She'd be like, "Can I get the key now, please?"
Oh, I'm just kidding with you, big guy. And he'll like pat him on the side and put the key in his palm.
God.
All right, thank you. Well, you don't stay up too late. You're already pretty drunk as it is, but I need to head to bed. It's a witching hour, as one would say. And he just walks upstairs to his room and quickly makes his way upstairs as he kind of can feel his spell is ending.
Yeah, you get upstairs. It's the second floor. Has like a long hallway with, I mean, it's a really long hallway, and it's got several rooms on either side. You find your way to your own private quarters, and it is just a small room. It's not very big. It's got a bed and a desk and a chair, and a little bit of room, pretty much standing room only, essentially. It's not really that big. They kind of maximize on their space to room ratio, renting out as much as they can, but yeah, it's just kind of a nice small private quarters with a lockable door.
Oh, also before he left Renwick, he would have like kind of in a low tone just whispered to him, "Don't forget to grab me whenever you're going to meet him later tonight. Oh, you're drunk, but please remember this. I want to be there." And then he would go upstairs, and as he gets to his room, he just locks the door behind him, takes off his armor, and his places like organizes his piece and shines his armor real quick as his scales slowly transform back to his natural golden color, and then he just kind of lays down in bed and waits.
You notice that as your as the power of your belt fades and you return to your normal color, it is not subtle. It is a very bright flash of gold envelops the whole room, just briefly for a second, and then bam, you're back to your own golden colored form. Also, I gotta like metagaming wise, you know that Renwick left with Telvin, but you didn't know that they set up a meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, it would have been more of like, hey, when you go to bed, like, tell me what happened. Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean there. That was unintentional.
No worries. I just didn't know if Renwick told you or not, so
Yeah,
I assumed not.
Yeah. It was more of like a, hey, what happened later?
So after while Glader returns to turns in for the night, what are a lot of you guys doing? Also, would drunk Renwick know that like the party came in trying to separate themselves from him? I don't know.
I was debating that,
So
but
anyway,
we made it a point to say that we're not making a scene. So I think that like he might look at them and just kind of like smile drunkenly, but like no, like doesn't make a giant motion or anything. But he'll spin back around, kind of like wobbly in his seat, and he'll say, no, "Telvin, do you mind if I fill some water skins with you?" And then I think I'm gonna make my way to bed. And then he'll kind of like subtly wink at him.
says, there's a barrel of ale in the back. You might as well fill your water skins, but no funny business. He walks past you kind of swiftly and greets the rest of the party as they enter. Hello, welcome, Silver Stable Inn and Tavern. It's getting late, but if you're buying, I'm serving. What can I get you, gentlemen? And he kind of turns to you, Locus, and Blade.
I'll just take an L, thank you.
All right, coming right up. And for you too.
Blade just kind of looks at him and goes, "You running any specials?"
No.
He goes, "It was worth a shot. All right, a nail for me as well."
All right, and he turns and kind of makes his way towards it. Locris, go ahead and give me a perception. Actually, all of you guys give me a perception check. Logus, what did you order to drink, if anything?
I'd imagine at this point, since we're getting kind of ready and kind of on edge a little bit, just trying to gather information, I'd imagine I'd just order a water or something.
Okay, yeah. He fills a mug with water and brings it to you, and brings the others their ales. Anything I could help you with? Anything you need? Interested in maybe a room or bit of gossip or something? What can I do for you? My name's Telvin. Who might you guys be? This is quite a bit of travelers tonight. I notice you're not the only band of new out of towners wandering around.
You asked us to roll a perception, right? I rolled a 15.
Dirty 20 for Blade.
You guys notice that, like, amongst the people who remain, there seem to be one that is like an older lady who has not like looked up from this book she's reading the whole time you guys have been here. And she's dressed in like a red robe, and it's very fine, and like it looks like it's got some kind of intricate designs on it, so it looks kind of fancy. But she is like really deep into this book, kind of reading by candlelight. Looks like she's bought a whole bottle of wine from Telvin and a glass, because he'll occasionally like bring her a new bottle, but she seems to be pouring them herself. Aside from that, there looks to be a couple of individuals in the back. Their cloaks are pulled over, like the hoods of their cloaks are pulled over their heads, and they are sitting on opposite sides of a table arguing over a piece of parchment. You can't really see what the parchment is, but from the way they're holding it and pointing at it, and you can assume it's like a map or some kind of text or something, maybe a picture.
they're arguing over. But aside from that, the bar appears to be empty. It's not a lot of patrons, not a lot of goings on.
Um, to answer his question, um, we are just traveling from town to town with our friend here, quite skilled on the instrument, and just looking for work for him and keeping him safe while we travel in these dangerous times.
Oh, I get it. You're the one playing the Black Rats, huh?
He kind of smiles and he looks over at you, Blade.
Blade just kind of like looks around, like making sure, kind of joking with him, seeing if he's looking at someone behind him or, whatnot. And he goes, "Oh, yes, that was me."
Well, you must have done good. You don't see that place packed a whole, to the brim very often. That's quite some talent you got there. I might be able to use someone like that in the future. Maybe you should think about an audition here. We got a little higher class clientele, a little deeper pockets, but maybe a conversation for another day.
Blade smiles and just goes, "The other place, while charming, was a little bit of a dive. I can only imagine how well, it could be over here."
Well, it's been all right, for lately, for sure. Definitely some higher end clientele coming through town. Lots of travelers. Not a lot of options. One of the only inns in town. So what can you do?
Now, could Blade just pull out his lute to just kind of do maybe almost like a little show off, kind of like maybe like a little flamenco guitar playing or something, or lute playing?
Yeah, give me a performance check.
Okay, performance, please don't let me down. It let me down. 9.
You kind of, go to jam a tune and just like somehow in the leaving one bar and coming to another, you must have knocked it out of tune, like when you threw it over your back or something. But it's just a bit off, and he kind of gives you a half smile. All right, well, I'll be behind the bar if you guys need anything. He goes back to behind the bar, kind of over by where Renwick and Gladier were. Starts cleaning glasses.
So where is Gladier and Renwick at this point? They must have missed it that they're not at the bar anymore.
Gladier has returned to his quarters because he can't hide that he's a Golden Dragon Bard anymore. And Renwick, as far as I know, is behind the bar filling up some water skins out of a bucket of water, a barrel of water. And that's, yeah.
I'm just gonna keep eyes for now, just on the barkeep and on Renwick until I see him come out. Just kind of hold the post at the table.
As Renwick's coming back out of there after filling up his water skins, he's going to wait until, oh god, Telvin, was it? Isn't paying attention, and he's going to try to slip the room keys to the party without him noticing, just since he hasn't connected us as all together yet.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand with disadvantage thanks to your buzz.
10 and a 15, so 15 still.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth. Let me make a roll for old Telvin here. Yeah.
Could I maybe help him out because I have a pretty high sleight of hand too.
You slide him over to the party, and yeah, you managed to pull it off pretty stealthily. You timed it perfect. His back was turned while you slid these guys the keys, so you guys are pretty positive that he pulled it off. Telvin's unaware that you guys are a party.
And he'll just kind of like saunter off to his room, but he'll make a pit stop by Gladiator's room just to fill him in on everything that happened.
Okay, and you kind of head up the stairs towards yours and Gladiator's room. What's the rest of the party doing? Is there anything in particular?
Locris is going to stand up and walk over to the table of hooded gentlemen and just kind of walk up and say, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I don't mean to be rude, but you seem to be arguing over something, and I'm assuming it's a map, and I'm very well traveled. Perhaps I could help you."
Like as you approach, they stopped their kind of like a hush like a conversation, and as you kind of approach the table, they roll up the parchment just to kind of keep it secret. Give me like a persuasion check as you kind of come talk to these guys.
Dirty 20.
They look to one another and say, yeah, maybe he can help us settle this. What do you, an outsider's opinion, if he is well traveled, that is. They look at you. Yeah, you can tell one is a human and the other is a blue dragonborn, and they seem to be having a bit of a argument over something. They unroll this piece of parchment, and it is like a weird kind of it's a map, but it's got a lot of riddles in it. It's almost like like different hints of like it's like a X marks the spot, but it's like a little dots leading a path to the X, and it's not actually a map of like a terrain, but it's a map that goes through like several different riddles, and they look to be trying to figure out the something particular about this map. Sit down. Tell us of yourself. Who are you, first of all, stranger? And how have you become so learned?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Kelvin. I'm actually a manager for a traveling bard. In fact, you may have heard and seen the crowd over there at the drowned rat or the black rat. Uh, Smelled like a drowned rat at least. And, we're just traveling town to town, country to country to see, to spread music to the world. And so, yes, we've traveled our fair land.
Blade will kind of like not really hear in the conversation, but just kind of wave from our table and just kind of say like "one love."
Okay, yeah. They kind of glance back at the table, kind of recognize you guys as a party. Well, we're having a few problems. Supposedly, my genius friend here, the blue dragonborn points to his friend. Well, we got this treasure map, and I'm not so sure it's legit. I think he got duped. And not only that, these riddles make no sense. They're obnoxiously hard. And as he goes and tells you this, the other man kind of protests. He's like, "That's not true at all. We haven't even figured out one. How can you tell me if we haven't even figured out a single riddle, if it's worth it or not? I mean, doesn't it look like we should invest some of our time into checking this out, or we just ignore this potential cash cow?"
Well, it's always worth at least trying. I mean, how did you come across it? Did you buy it off someone who promised riches, or because
Yes.
yes. Well, we'll see if we could figure at least the first one out. I mean, after all, it is easy to scam somebody, but I'm sure that's not what happened.
Well, I tell you what. You make sense of any of this piece of paper, and I will go with you, and I will totally make it happen. He's saying this to his partner. But if you can't, I'm not going to invest a bunch of time and energy into a wild goose chase. Like, you got to make it easy on me. Give me a place to go check out. Give me something real, something tangible. Maybe we'll make it work. But I'm not going for this wild goose chase to solve my magic wizard riddle shit. It's too much. You know, we could be actually making real money. They slide the parchment over to you, little Chris, if you'd like to take a look.
All right, I take a look.
It's like I said, it's several different riddles. Each of them wrote in a different language, and it looks to be that there are several steps one needs to take to uncover this treasure as it was put to them. But so, what languages do you speak besides Abyssal?
I speak Common, Abyssal, and Infernal. However, I was smart enough to take the Comprehend Languages spell. So as I slide over the map, I will cast Comprehend Languages, so all languages become legible.
Okay, so it's not really a map in a sense that they thought it was, and it's not really a treasure map. You can tell right away that this is like a large diagram depicting the different like realms of the world. You know, it's almost like I mean, it's well put together, but it is like it explains like this is the material plane, and it explains how like there are other planes that are similar, like reflections of the material plane. Like so Shadowfell, for instance, where on the material plane, where it might be a raging a mountainside next to a raging river. In Shadowfell, it would be a mountainside next to a potential a ditch full of bones or something. Like they're mirror planes, if it were. And it's like a diagram explaining not only the planes but also some of the other like outer planes, like not just the material plane and like Shadowfell, but the different realms that belong to like different gods and things like that. It's like it's not really a treasure map at all. It's almost like a religious scroll or something that would be used in a arcane university for teaching purposes. Yeah, it's not really as valuable as they think it is.
How much did you pay for this quote unquote treasure map?
Um, Pay is a strong word. Let's just say it's ours now.
Well, you still did not get your money's worth. This is a wonderful map if you say want to go to the Shadow Realm or the Outer Planes or the Elder Planes or the Mirror Planes. You're going to be doing some plane hopping for this treasure. It's not so much a riddle, it's the fact that it's not on the material plane itself.
The blue dragonborn kind of looks smugly at his friend, like, told you. You think I'm gonna go to Shadowfell for a couple hundred gold pieces? You're fucking crazy, dude. We could just get that here. We have our ways. I'm not going to frickin' Shadowfell.
I mean, I don't blame him. But I do feel bad for you. It's definitely unfortunate, but me, I actually like odd things. So I'd actually be willing to purchase this map off you. Now, I don't have much money. I mean, there's a reason we play at the Rat's Nest. It's not he's good, but I mean, he's playing for silvers and coppers. It's not exactly like we're rolling in platinum. I could give you 5 silver for the map, and then you at least got a little something, a little treasure for otherwise a worthless piece of paper.
No way, man. I mean, I don't know what it says, but the artwork and the masterful crafting ways of this, like it's gotta be worth more than 5 silver. Ah, 5 gold.
Oh, my friend, 5 gold for a map? Are you kidding me? Yes, it looks pretty. Guess what? So do a lot of pictures.
Go ahead and
I
give
could,
me a
I,
persuasion
I
check.
could go for persuasion. 22.
He looks at it and kind of scowls at the coming down on the price. Well, I got to get more than 5 silver. How about a couple of gold pieces? And you're robbing me.
How about 1 gold, 5 silver? I mean, yes, could you get more elsewhere? Possibly, but it is a very niche item. You could sell it right now, or you could carry it around, trying to find somebody else with a taste for such a exquisite piece that's not busy spending all day working to pay taxes.
All right. Uh, a gold and 5 silver for the chart or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm giving it away. Really, this is just because I acquired it doesn't mean I didn't work hard. He kind of
Oh, I
he winks.
completely understand that. I completely understand that. And, we have worked for a lot of different things. But, as I said, I mean, you could go elsewhere. It's just not everybody's going to want one of these. I mean, look around at the town. The people wake up before dawn to go till the field. You'd have to walk weeks or months just to find somebody else who might be interested in this. So, while yes, it's probably not as much as you would hope, it's better than a piece of paper that you can't use, correct?
I suppose it'd be easier to trade coin for ale than this piece of paper.
And you know what? Just to be nice, barkeep, how about a round for the table on me?
Yeah, he kind of nods, Telvin, and he comes over and puts a couple shots of whiskey in front of the fellas. It's an additional couple copper.
So I'll lift the whiskey glass, gentlemen. To may your future endeavors be more prosperous.
And not involve pickpocketing old ladies, as the blue dragonborn cheers his and kind of glares at the fucking human. And then they take their shot.
Chris will take his shot, stand up, and walk back to Blade and Logos.
As you
With his
walk
new map.
back to Blade and Logos, give me a dexterity saving throw.
12.
As you kind of walk back to your party, you walk by this lady who has not really moved. She is sitting, reading a book by candlelight, drinking a glass of wine from a bottle she poured.
And as you walk by her with like lightning fast reflexes, she grabs you by the arm, and you don't know why, but her her touch is ice cold. It is like, almost uncomfortably cold to you as she stops you, and she looks up to you from her book. It's the first time she's moved since anyone's came into the tavern, and she asks, "Tell me, amongst your travels, you seen any golden dragonborn?" And she kind of stares at you, not really letting go as her gaze kind of meets yours. You see, she is a half elven woman with some piercing, like grayish blue eyes, and she's asking about golden dragonborn.
Yes, though not lately. What's your
Really?
interest in a golden dragonborn?
Well, my interests are much. But tell me, not yes, but not lately. Where have you seen a golden dragonborn? Hopefully, somewhere near, somewhere in the desert, perhaps. She kind of narrows her gaze at you.
No, ma'am. I'm from south. What is it, Brightwood? The Brightwood
Correct.
region. I'm from the Brightwood region, and that's the only time I've ever seen anyone such as that. I crossed the desert and I came across bronze dragonborn, but no golden.
She lets go of your grasp. She lets you go, and as soon as she lets go of your arm, like it's almost like you take like a deep breath of relief. Like for some reason, she makes you vastly uncomfortable when coming into contact with her, and she lets go of your arm. Well, that's unfortunate. I suppose seeing them in your nation is probably a little different than seeing them here. They're rare here. They're not always a welcome political guest in the land of the Dragonkin. So, well,
What are you hoping to get an autograph from one, or are you looking to turn one in? I mean, I've heard the stories, and I know there's quite a bounty.
oh, make no mistake. I don't think I would do either. Cash in the bounty nor get an autograph. My reasons are my reasons, but just so you are aware, Outlander, here in Hordenshire, the Silver Queen reigns supreme. And not only that, happens to be quite the powerful sorceress. And as quite powerful sorceresses tend to be and have, her eyes and ears are everywhere. So mind your manners while you're in Hordenshire. And I would immediately report any Golden Dragonborn activity to your nearest authorities. Associating with them could be potential death penalty.
Oh, absolutely. After all, we're just out to bring music to the public. I'm not looking to get into any political turmoil. That's just not my scene.
Indeed. Well, much research to be done. Thank you for your time. She flips a coin to you. It's a silver.
You catch it, give her a little nod of the head, and walk away.
She goes back to her book.
Can I make the perception on her to see if there's like any is there like a crest of the Silver Queen or something on her?
Go ahead
No.
and give me a perception check.
Also want to see like, does she have weapons? What is she like? What does she got on her? Just kind of check her out.
Yeah,
That's
give me a perception check.
dirty
I'll give you
20.
the basics, but if you roll good, I'll give you a little extra. What'd you roll?
A dirty 20.
Oh, nice. So she's sitting at the table, a few tables down from you, and she has like a very fine, thick-looking, like deep red robe on. It's got little white, like a kind of collar, and around her wrists as like the trim or whatever. It's like a white fluff. She is pretty intent in her book. She doesn't gaze away from it often, but you notice after watching her for a little bit of time, she has not turned a single page even once, staring at the runes in her book. Her eyes kind of just milk over, and aside from that, she does have like a bottle of wine and a glass of wine on the table alongside her book, and then there's like a candlestick burning a little bit of, it's been going for a while, so it's burning low. But aside from like what's on her person, it's mostly hidden by her robes, but you can tell that the robes are of fine quality, and the book she is reading is likely a spell book of some kind.
Can I make an insight to her when she was talking to Locris and she mentioned the Silver Queen as a powerful sorceress? Do I get the sense that she's a sorceress, or maybe even kind of glean that she was kind of hinting at something that maybe she is maybe an avatar of the Silver Queen or a high ranking member or even the Silver Queen herself? I know that's kind of much, but it's kind of an insight checker. See.
Yeah, give me an insight check as you kind of try to feel this lady out. She has an awkward moment with Locris.
Oh, hot dice. I rolled a 22 total.
You're not 100% on anything, but you do get a sense that, she is not like an enemy of the Silver Queen. She's very, very much pro Silver Queen. And you do get a sense by her general mannerisms and her like milking over of her eyes and the way she stares at these weird runes in what you presume is a spell book, that she is probably some kind of caster. She's probably a sorceress or a wizard or something, Which
Also, one last thing. Is there anybody else in the room kind of watching her, or maybe watching in on that interaction with Locris?
aside from Telvin, the barkeep,
He was watching all that?
yeah, I mean, he's just kind of standing there in the bar. He's just kind of chilling. There's not a lot for him to do besides kind of watch and take note of what people are doing and whatnot, but he doesn't really seem to be too affected.
Um, when Locris gets back to the table, well, gentlemen, perhaps we should retire to our bedrooms before it gets any later. We have a long morning ahead of us, finding work for you, Blade.
Blade, my voice just cracked right there. Blade just goes, yeah, I definitely could use some rest with my fingers here. Definitely could use a little bit of recharge.
Okay, so you notice that the two dudes that were arguing with Locris kind of finish their drinks and head out. They leave a coin to Telvin on the bar as they exit, and they kind of nod to Locris on their way out. But they are, kind of disappointed. But also, it's pretty late. They're getting out of Dodge. Telvin kind of looks to you guys, and like I said, it's late, but if you're buying, I'm serving. So is there anything I can get you guys before, maybe you retire?
No, thank you. I'm good. Just the water before bed. It helps soothe the muscles so you don't cramp up in the night.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start cleaning her up. So you take care of yourselves and holler at me if you need anything. Breakfast is bright and early. With that, he kind of wanders down towards the lady in the red robes and very hesitantly and politely he asks, "Milady, is there anything I can get you? Perhaps another bottle of wine?" She kind of snaps out of her trance and looks at him and, "Oh, is it that time already, Telvin? I better retire to my quarters. I will see you another day." And she picks up her spellbook and just walks out, just leaves the tavern entirely. And as she leaves, she didn't pick up anything. She left her. She picked up her spellbook, but left the bottle of wine and the cup behind. And Telvin picks them up and returns them to behind the bar. And you could see like almost a visible relief when she leaves the bar. Like he lets out a little bit of a sigh, and then goes about cleaning up.
Little Chris is gonna walk up to tell them. She's a frosty one, isn't she?
You have no idea. She's not my favorite.
Who is she?
Well, she's one of the higher ups. She's like, I don't know exactly her relationship to the Silver Queen. We'll call it like an advisor, but she's dedicated to overseeing much of the Silver Queen's personal assets here in Greenthorn. And she's not a very nice or forgiving person, we'll say that. She's got a little bit of an attitude and a mean streak. Definitely seen her strike a man down in a single blow with curling fist of lightning erupting from her hands. She's kind of terrifying. She's not somebody to fuck with, I can tell you that.
I got that right away. I mean, I've been in cold weather before, but even I was a little chilled by her touch.
Yeah, she gives off bad vibes. A lot of I don't know if it's fear or respect, but even the silver soldiers give her a wide girth.
It's fear. It's always fear with somebody like that. Earned, I'm sure, but definitely fear.
Right, yeah. Her name is Mirnarith, but she is quite the capable arcane adept, from what I hear. Try not to get on her good side.
Duly noted. And then little Chris will make his way upstairs.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Blade was just going to kind of follow the same lead. He's going to kind of make his way up there, but kind of again tell Telvin to just say, going to be heading up to bed now. We should definitely think about that deal, and maybe you and I can work out something about getting more folk in here.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to do something along those lines. I wouldn't mind pulling in a little more business. seeing how quick you packed the black rat. That was pretty nice. Wouldn't mind an influx of cash in my own coffers. So you managed to tune that instrument of yours and give her another shot. Maybe I'll set you up with an evening with my clients as well.
It would be my honor. And he pulls out his flute and tries to play a little more finessed version of Baba Black Sheep while going up.
Okay, give me a performance check as you go to bed.
Please, love of God. 19.
It comes out pretty nice, you know. You kind of lull some of the fellow patrons to sleep.
When we're walking up the stairs and we have that conversation with Telvin, and I see him, when she leaves, does she come upstairs or does she leave the building?
She leaves the building.
Okay, so when we're going upstairs, I want to try to find the room that Gladier's in.
Okay, are you gonna start knocking on doors or call out
Well,
to them, or how do you do that?
Well, seeing that is there any? How would I do this? Let me see what I could do as a maybe track them. There's no footprints on the floor or anything. Maybe giant dragonborn.
I mean, not really. There's like maybe a footprint or dusty footprint or two on the bar floor. Maybe through some spilled ale here or there, but they're actually like hardwood floors, so no footprints.
How many doors are in this hallway?
7 on each side of the hallway, so 14 in total. Five of them are your party's rooms.
Does there seem to be one? It doesn't make sense. Do they look like they were all in use? Is there any lights on? Maybe peeking out under the doorway or something, compared to the ones that are just flat out dark.
On that note, Glader wouldn't have gone to bed until he received information because he was still kind of waiting up for Renwick to tell him about Telvin, the barkeep, what he had to say. So he probably wouldn't be asleep yet, maybe with a candle lit or something.
Okay, yeah. I'll say that, you know, aside from the rooms that you know are for sure, yeah, I'd say everyone is essentially asleep except for your party, because I don't imagine Renwick was going to go to bed either, even though he said he was, but he could be waiting in the darkness in his room, like some kind of weirdo, I guess. I don't know. But I would imagine, essentially, from your party retiring, you know, at least Gladier's candle would be burning bright in his room, so you could potentially find him.
Okay. I want to go to the door that I see some light under there, and I'll say in Draconic, because I can speak Draconic. I'll just say his name.
You hear someone calling your name softly from the hallway, Gladier.
He would.
I also identify myself, though. I'll say it's.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
You're about to get a Kopesh level to your face. But no, yeah. Hearing that it's Logos calling for him, he'd open the door, look out in the hallway, and then kind of like pull him inside and close the door and lock it behind him. So, what's going on down there? I know Renwick was talking with the barkeep, and Anything else interesting happen?
I'm gonna basically kind of like be whispering to him at this point. And the lady downstairs, the one that did the whole thing, was she a dragonborn as well, or was she human?
She was not. She looked to be.
Oh, she was elf, right?
Yeah.
Half elf. Okay, I'll speak in Draconic to him, just quietly, like kind of whispering. There's somebody here, very powerful. They're just, I think, specifically looking for you. And she was just downstairs, and she confronted Locris about golden dragons. I don't think it's safe here. Locris was able to talk his way out of it, but she was quite scary. She seemed to be very, very powerful. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we come into this town and there's someone basically waiting for us here.
I also reply in Draconic, just trying to, keep any prying eyes that aren't, or prying ears that aren't Dragonborn from listening.
Okay, for the record, like most of the population here is Dragonborn, so most of the population here speaks Draconic.
Well, then the half-elf scary lady.
Okay. And we're also talking quietly, like I'm whispering.
Yeah. We're not,
I just don't want to whisper on mic. And
makes sense.
Just no, I think you're right about that. It does seem awfully convenient that the second bar we walk into and one of the only inns in town, there's someone waiting for golden dragonborns. I don't think we should spend much time here, but I know Renwick is looking to discuss some things further with the barkeep tonight. So, as much as I want to be there, I think it might be best for me to stay in the room. And I mean, I'll stay prepared and ready in case I hear some commotion. I can come down and help, but I think it might be best if he goes down and you guys just keep an eye on him, and he can figure out what this barkeep knows. But we probably shouldn't stay in this town for too much longer. I mean, this belt that Tark gave me is a wonderful gift, but it only lasts for so long every day, so I have to use it sparingly.
I'm gonna. Well, Locris actually had an idea. He has a disguise kit that could possibly maybe dim your scales a little bit, maybe make them look more bronze, so you don't have to necessarily worry about it. And then I'll turn to Locris and say an abyssal, just kind of fill him in on what we're talking about, and tell him that I'm talking about the disguise kit. And then I'll turn to Blade and tell him in Elvish, kind of fill him in what's happening.
You are like the what is that? Quadlingual? Quad. It's more than bilingual.
Yeah, I know.
You and translator.
I know 5 languages. I know Abyssal, Common, Draconic, Elvish, and Halfling.
How long would it have been since I cast Comprehend Languages by this point?
We'll say it's only things have been wrapping up pretty quickly. We'll say close to an hour, 45 minutes or so.
Okay, he'll just nod at him, knowing that he's understood everything that's been said in all 3 languages. Because Comprehend Languages lasts for an hour.
Nice.
And then I'll say in Halfling to myself, since I assume that nobody understands me. Fucking Dragonborns, man, just bringing trouble wherever they go.
Renwick's a halfling. Right?
Blade understood that as well.
Oh, Renwick is in here?
Renwick's a halfling, but
I think Renwick's asleep, isn't he?
I think Renwick's waiting to meet up with Telvin.
Oh, yeah.
So Renwick's not in here?
Nah, man.
Well, each of you
I've
have
been
your own
sober
like
enough in
private
my
room,
room.
so like you guys could all be in one person's quarters, but essentially it's not
Well,
much bigger
I
than a
mean-
bed, and like there's a little bit of standing room, but all of you in one room would be very awkward. Not a lot of.
I mean,
standing.
realistically, you guys had that whole altercation happen after we had already gone upstairs, and I said I was swinging by his room to fill him in, but that wouldn't have taken an hour, so I'm definitely in my room, just kind of waiting to go down there.
All right.
Well, Logos is gonna kind of look around, looking for the little halfling, and what I thought Renwick was in here. It's pretty important that he knows that there's someone here hunting you. Perhaps we should get him in here.
But won't you all feel? Because it sounds like the bar's quieted down. Maybe y'all should tell Renwick to head downstairs and speak to Telvin to figure out what he knows. Maybe one of you can sneakily follow down behind him afterwards, just to keep an eye on things. And I'll stay up just in case I hear any commotion. And then maybe first thing tomorrow morning, we just get what we need supplies wise, and depending on what we get from Telvin, we might want to head out.
Logos is. Do you know which room is Renwick's room? Because I had trouble finding your room.
Would I have like possibly heard which direction Renwick started walking down? But cause,
I mean, a drunk halfling could potentially be pretty loud. But I mean, you and Renwick were kind of getting chummy at the bar. Like, Telvin didn't necessarily know the others were part of the same party, but you and Renwick exchanged keys, so you could have potentially found out what room he was in just in case. So you could point Logos to the right room.
yeah, I just kind of point him in the right direction towards Renwick's room.
Right. Tell him. I'll probably stay up to keep an eye on him. See if I can maybe stick to the shadows a little bit. I don't know what else everyone else is gonna do, but I suggest everyone stay up in case there's some commotion or something goes down. I'm gonna head out the room and head to Renwick's room.
Yeah, it's only you guys are pretty close. You guys are only like a room apart, so.
So I'll knock on the door and say in halfling, Renwick, it's Logos.
Yeah,
Trying to see
you
if
hear
you're-
your name being called.
Pass out drunk.
He's gonna like try to silently, now that he's trying to sober up a bit for this meeting, he's gonna silently like turn the door, and as he opens it, if it opens inward, he's gonna walk backwards like behind the door so it opens to an empty room, just in case it's not Logos.
Logos, the door just opens and nobody's there. What do you do?
I'm gonna pull out my bow and just like my dark vision. I'm just gonna be scanning the room and trying to look for clues if maybe Renwick was here or maybe he was taken. I'm just full on.
I mean, the
On
room
edge
the
right
room's
now.
pretty small. As soon as you like enter the room, you would be able to locate Renwick behind the door. There's not a lot to these small rooms.
I'd imagine like I'd like kind of skate in and put the bow around the door and see him there.
Yeah, once you stealth in, he'll just silently and slowly close the door back. He doesn't want to like wake anybody in the hallway up. And he'll be like, "Oh, I was waiting to go down to this cellar. I think it's getting close to that time. I'm hoping that you guys can be lookouts for me. Perhaps we put somebody out front in case it's an ambush. Maybe keep an eye on the back door and the bar itself. But this guy either has information or I'm going to be set up. But either way, I think it's best to go alone just in case it's going to get me arrested."
Well, I don't know if this changed your plans at all. And I assume we're talking in halfling right now. Someone basically threatened Logris, looking for dragonborns, golden dragonborns. She was a very powerful caster of some sort, and it just seems a bit odd that the moment we come into town, there's someone looking for golden dragonborns. Logris said that her hands were ice cold, and I don't know if it's a good idea to maybe do that when there's someone like that in town.
Well, it doesn't seem like the people around here are very content with the Silver Queen's people, and I mean, I can't imagine all Silver Dragonborn are inherently bad. So, if anything, I'd like to see what this guy has to hear, and I'll do my best to have a solid alibi. That way I don't altercate anybody else in this.
I'll try to stick to the shadows and keep eyes on you as much as I can. But
Yeah, just
once
keep
we
your
get to the
distance so he
isolated,
doesn't see you.
of course, but it might be hard once you're down in the cellar. I imagine there's only one way in, one way out, so you're
Well,
probably going to be pretty isolated down there.
well, he'll just have to remember that I'm not trapped in there with him. He's trapped in there with me. And he'll kind of like grin at you and flip his dagger around a little bit.
Logus is just going to roll his eyes.
Okay, yeah. You guys notice, or you guys, most of the tavern is deadly quiet, and the lights have all been turned down. It is essentially, for all intents and purposes, closed.
Is it still like full on lit up, or is it maybe just a little dim now that it's kind of
in
closed?
your personal quarters, you guys have like your own light sources, so you can make it as bright or as dim as you want by lighting a few candles. But it looks like maybe a single candle is burning down at the bar.
I'd imagine I'd be sitting in my room just listening for when Renwick starts making his way downstairs.
Okay, yeah. Closing time has came, and silences came over all of Greenthorn. Really, it's kind of a very wholesome-ish community, and yeah, Renwick, you kind of feel like the time is now, and you kind of make your way down towards Telvin. You get down to the main floor, and you look around, and aside from noticing that the front door is apparently locked, the bar is completely empty.
And he's going to make it a point to be very quiet, very cautious, and kind of hood up with his cloak and just very silently make his way down toward the cellar. And he's going to kind of, as he's going, very, I guess, stealthily, like check corners. Just make sure that he's not going to pass by anybody as he's walking, behind the bar and everything to get to the cellar.
Okay, give me both a stealth and a perception check.
That's a 10 stealth.
At this point, I'll be
9 perception.
like at the top of the stairs, kind of keeping to the shadows, not putting myself in sight, but just kind of following his footsteps.
Renwick, you kind of start making your way towards the cellar, and you for sure, stub your toe on something behind the bar, and you kind of fall, not loudly, but you definitely fall up against the door. If it was not locked, you probably would have gone through it, but it is locked.
I mean, that makes sense. He's still a little tipsy from earlier, maybe. I mean, he's clumsy in the dark after
Right?
a few whiskeys, so
You don't see as good in the dark as Logos does, for sure.
fair enough. But he'll get down there, and
Yeah, you ease the key into the lock. It creaks open once again, and you kind of tiptoe your way down into the cellar. And in the center of the cellar is Telvin, older, silver dragonborn, smoking on a pipe, sitting at a table that's got some like charts and things on it. It looks like ledgers for like running his business or whatever. But he sits there and puffs upon his pipe and greets you as you come down. Well, hello there. We could speak a little freer now. I don't know what. I know you're an out of towner there, Turner, but Mirnareth, she's a dangerous lady. You gotta stay clear of her. Talk about gold dragonborns tends to pique her interest, and trust me, you don't want to be found in her interests. It doesn't work out for most people.
well, I can tell you people are quite serious about that one. But you'll have to forgive me. I mean, I'm new in town. I'm not terribly familiar with the entire situation here. In all honesty, I'm at a bit of a loss. It seems like there's rebels around, but they're not terribly pertinent here. Everybody's constantly on some sort of hunt. The whole town's on edge. I'm not trying to stir anything up. I'm not trying to get in the midst of that. What I am trying to do is figure out what the hell's going on. Do you have any more information? Anything about this woman or what her position is among the people?
Well, I'm unsure as to her official position, but I know she's an advisor to the queen of some kind. But as far as I know, she is, just as high, if not a higher rank than the commander of the guards here. She and he are on equal footing as far as rank, I guess, within the Silver Soldiers, though she doesn't seem to wear the banners nor the colors. But I'm not sure. Maybe a foreign advisor to the Queen that just kind of runs things here officially, but you're right, the tension is building. There are certain things that have happened in Hordenshire that, history can't erase. The Silver Queen is one of the blights on our world, unfortunately. And this, you get this coming from a Silver Dragonborn. It's probably not the easiest for him to admit, but he.
Can I roll an insight check to see if he seems genuine, that he has like a distaste for the Silver Queen?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me an insight check.
At this point, Logus would be at the top of the stairs to the cellar to try to like eavesdrop in on the conversation.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
16 for Renwick.
You would guess that he is being genuine. He's kind of gives off some old timer vibes, but for what you can tell, he's being honest.
Later is also, I'm sure he would have been listening for when Renrick and Logus made their way downstairs, and as they did, he put back on all of his armor and like got everything ready. And then I have a traveling clothes, which includes a heavy cloak with hood. So he would have like put on the huge cloak over his armor and like flipped the hood up, and he's just kind of like waiting and listening to hear if he hears any commotion downstairs.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Waiting in the ready. You could even maybe crack your door open a bit so you could get an ear on what's going on. Renwick, he kind of just turns to you and says, well, as far as information, everybody's on edge for a reason. Whenever the Silver Queen seems to make a move or feel comfortable in doing whatever it is she's doing, that seems to be when the rebels strike. And to be honest, righteously so. They're all that's keeping some people's hope alive. Like Greenthorn's not so bad, but I mean, you don't want to be a gold dragonborn in Hordenshire right now. You're prosecuted to the very end, and while a lot of the people might not necessarily agree with the Silver Queen's edicts, they're not necessarily opposing her either. And the propaganda machine she's created is worked. These bounty hunters she employs, they're mercenaries from another land. They're not even from Hordenshire, but they capture our citizens and turn them into slaves, essentially. It's that's their punishment for rebels, is so many years of slave labor, but they run unregulated, they're unchecked. They make the rules and they make the law, and unfortunately, aside from within the cities, they are running amok. Anything could be a violation of the Silver Queen's law, whether it's just not bending the knee or actually being an active participant in a rebel. It's too difficult to abide by every law when they keep changing. And it's common knowledge that a few raids have gone down. The outer city of Gethmara Keep is, well, impoverished, greatly so, over the last few years. And, those bounty hunters, if you call them that, are not merciful. They have been raiding the outer city of Gethmara Keep for quite some time. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're basically just capturing people to turn over as slaves, regardless of their, lawfulness or not. Gethmara Keep and its people have been a target for some time, even after the Golden Dragonborns seem to have been dried up. And it's no secret that a rather large shipment of these slaves has just left Gethmara Keep, and it is rolling towards all the way around Hordenshire, towards the Silver Queen's realm in the south, at the top of her mountain in the Silver Keep. But no one expects these slaves to make it. It's been more than just rumors that transporting so many slaves at once has caught the eye of the Holy Fangs, and nobody knows when, nobody knows where, nobody knows how, but if things hold true and hold to the norm, they will not make it to the Silver Queen. The Holy Fangs will intervene at some point and kill these guards, kill these bounty hunters, free these slaves, in one way or another. They will not allow these people to be taken from their lands and made slaves for no reason at all. But they are so few in number, they don't have the option of fighting with honor, I'm afraid. It is hit and run guerrilla tactics. But this very caravan will be passing through here on the morning, so that's why everyone is on edge. They are carefully watching us. They are carefully watching the route, and not only is this caravan guarded by the bounty hunters themselves, but a few unseen eyes watch over it as well. Like the eyes of Mirineth. He takes a long, deep drag off his pipe, and
he whispers to you, Renwick. I don't know about your dragonborn friend, but I do believe you asking the wrong questions around Miraneth might have turned around to you being an outsider, and she's kind of volatile. I was hoping to save you from being murdered in my bar. That would more cleaning for me, you know. Plus, I got a soft spot for some halflings. You know, they're all right. he kind of like gawks at you a little bit. He kind of stares, like gives you an up and down, kind of sizing you up for being a short guy.
Oh, well, it's kind of you to do me that favor. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. More, just like to be well informed. But this isn't necessarily my problem per se. I'm just interested in how this all plays out and seeing if I can't make a quick coin on it.
Well, that's just about how most of us look at it, right? Yeah, you can't make a quick coin here running an inn when I have a raging psychopath patron who may or may not, kill and or maim my other patrons over political bullshit, in my opinion. But I don't know. I think, in my opinion, the Silver Queen, even as a Silver Dragonborn, who I did hail from, the lands to the south. I wasn't always up here in Greenthorn, but I don't know. Her politics, even before the Great Conspiracy, were not well liked or respected. Her seizure of power in Hordenshire has been swift and definite. It's unfortunate, because even though I'm a Silver Dragonborn, I have known, Golden Dragonborns. I have battled a few, broke bread with others. They're not all bad like she claims, and neither are they all rebels. I think even though she's got most of the country on lockdown, most of the country is within her grasp. The little tiny bit she doesn't, she fears greatly. And she has vastly tried to make it hard and made great bounties on these guys to where, it's almost like they don't have a chance. They have half a nation coming after them, and the other half isn't sure whether they're good or bad, So just be warned. Asking about, I don't know what brings you to Hordenshire, but asking about the Holy Fangs, it's a good way to get noticed by people you need to avoid, I would imagine. So keep your nose clean when you're wandering around here, and stay clear of where you can. Golden Dragonborn, as far as I'm concerned. Anybody catches them around you, good people are likely to turn you in, thinking they're rebels or outlaws, or just nothing good could come of it. I'd avoid it all altogether and make your way through Hordenshire as best you can, because those bounty hunters are ruthless. They catch you on the road, you might as well be waving a flag, singing a rebel anthem.
Well, I certainly appreciate the warning. Like I said, I'm not trying to stir the pot. I prefer to keep things close to the chest. With this shipment you said tomorrow that's passing through of these slaves, do you have any idea what time it'll be passing through the town? I'd just like to be off the street in case something happens.
Well, it depends on how long it takes them to get here from Gazmara, but they've got enough of a crew. They probably don't stop through the night. I imagine they're here first thing in the morning.
All right. Well, it looks like I'll be having breakfast in the morning and keeping an eye out the window just in case the proverbial shit hits the fan.
Well, hopefully it doesn't, and hopefully these damn bounty hunters are more honorable than I'm giving them credit for, but I doubt it. It'd be nice if they actually caught some criminals for once.
kind of chuckle at that. And he'll say, "No, you mentioned you'd fought some golden dragonborns, but you'd also broke bread with others. Is there anything that you could tell me? Any that you've known that might be prominent figures around these parts, or at least used to be here back before they were considered enemies of the state?"
I mean, it's not always clan versus clan. You know, one thing that I've noticed in my time is the best way to rally the clans is outsiders, outside influence. You know, they'll fight amongst their chosen clans. Infighting is rampant amongst us Dragonborn, but give us a common enemy and watch how quick they unite and organize. And it was the case. You know, I come from a place called Frostfire. It's a lakeside town at the base of the mountain, Mount Whitehorn, where the top of the mountain is where the Silver Queen's Keep lies. But, well, a marauding batch of magical beasts have been known to find their way to the Arctic lake that surrounds the small island my town's on. And, yep, some battles have ensued there for sure. Nothing like a batch of particularly powerful hydras splashing about, coming from Brightwood for one reason or another. We still don't know what sent them our way, but it united the clans like no other. And yeah, but a specific one I couldn't particularly name. The few I did break bread with, unfortunately, were higher in rank and slain upon the Great Conspiracy. But, you know, I clashed with a few in some rival clan disputes as well. Amongst them as well as amongst all the clans of the Dragonborn. There are good and there are bad, you know. They're not to be lumped in one side or the other.
Fair enough. And I think I really just have one more question for you.
Aye, ask away. He takes another deep drag on his pipe.
Now, this Mirnoreth, she seems powerful, rather dangerous, and rather high up within the Queen's upper echelon. I'd imagine that type of presence makes it, I don't know, you carry it through town with you. Would you happen to know where she stays or anything about her quarters or maybe her habits around the town? I'd like to stay out of her path, especially since I've already caused a bit of a ripple that I hadn't intended to.
So, one thing after the Great Conspiracy was a lot of people got, we'll say, relocated. You suddenly found yourself a noble or lord with some lands and, you know, a few buildings or peasants to help work them, but other people found themselves in positions of political power that they didn't really earn or deserve, regardless of their abilities to be a good political leader. And Mirnoreth is one of those folks. Shortly after the Great Conspiracy, she's technically been promoted to our mayor and has been living in our mayoral manor since. You know, it's been a couple of years, but technically she is the lead political figure of Greenthorn.
Well, that's rather unfortunate. Can't imagine somebody. Well, I can't imagine a town living under somebody like that. Just based on what I've heard, it's got to be rather awful for the townsfolk. I can't imagine they've taken well to that, especially with the whisperings I've heard. Does it seem like there's a great deal of conflict, or are the villagers just kind of given up?
Well, make no mistake, she's kind of an evil bitch, but she's more concerned with the will of the Silver Queen than the torture of the average citizen, but, it doesn't stop her from striking down those who would be, I guess, immediately considered rebels and worthy of execution, on the books, officially anyway. But she tends to not socialize so much. She's rarely seen in and around town, and when she is, it's usually at the guard barracks. She pokes in here for a bit of wine while she studies her spell books or whatever, but she's not a frequently seen figure here, and you know how the witches or sorcerers are. She might not even be here when we think she's here. She could enter that manor and teleport to the Silver Queen's side every evening, for all I know. She's kind of deadly and well known, but also somewhat mysterious. Not her habits are not well known, we'll say.
Well, magic users are, quite frankly, relatively unpredictable and incredibly powerful. And I can tell if she's this high up, she's not to be fucked with. I do appreciate the warning and all the information you've been able to give us.
Absolutely. She keep safe while you're out in Hordenshire, and keep clear of that one. Even she is kind of an evil bitch, but she does run a tight ship. She continues to help the workers and whatnot, like raise revenue around here. Though taxes seem to go up every time our revenue does. So.
Well, it's always unfortunate when the people have to foot the bill for the ruling population. I hate to see it. Well, I'll leave you with this. And he's gonna etch into, like, I'd imagine the floor is kind of dusty.
Oh yeah, it's a cellar. It's pretty dusty down here.
All right, so in the dust on the floor, he's gonna draw a symbol from like thieves' cant, just like something that is kind of unrecognizable, but would stick out to Telvin. And he's gonna say, memorize this symbol. And should you ever have any more information, or you ever need anything from me, you can leave this symbol on a piece of parchment and slip it to me, be it under the door if we're staying here, or just in passing. But I'll know to meet you back in this cellar after the bar closes. And well, hopefully we'll be seeing you around.
Indeed, that is quite a good idea, little halfling. That's why I like your kind. They're always clever folk. And he takes a big rip off of his pipe and cashes it out. And he's, well, I'll be making my way to my quarters now, if you don't mind.
And Renwick will tip his hat to him and say, I'll be doing the same. And then he'll kick away the dust and, like, wash away the symbol on the floor. And he'll, wait so that they're not leaving the cellar together, and he'll kind of just sneak back out of there and try to meet up with Logus.
Okay, yeah. He heads off to his quarters, and it's not hard to catch back up with the party that is anxiously awaiting your return. I believe Gladier is waiting up for you as well.
Oh, just when I heard them wrapping up, I would have went back upstairs, because I was down in the main bar by the door listening in.
Okay, yeah.
And Renwick's just gonna fill them in on the conversation, all the background and whatnot of Mirnareth. And yeah, I mean, that's like super information dump basically for the party, and see what they have to say. But clearly, one of the pressing issues here is when we wake up in the morning, there's potentially a caravan of slaves passing through this town, and if the rumors are true, there's a solid chance that the Holy Fangs are going to have something to do with a disruption while it's on this course. So we have to, I guess, make a decision as to whether or not we jump in the fight and make ourselves known as aligned with the rebels, or we watch it happen and we see if we can't track them down after it's taken place, so as to not give away our disposition in the town.
Uh, I feel like if we want to get on the good side of the Holy Fangs, they'd probably respect a little help if things get a little hairy out there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We should play it by ear. We'll see how things are going. After all, if they already have a plan in place and it's going exactly how they want, we could easily muck that up.
I agree. I say that we monitor the situation. We see if we can't tell them as they leave the town. They've got to be going somewhere, and we happen to have a pretty damn good tracker. But if for some reason their plan goes awry and it seems like Mirnareth and her silver soldiers are laying waste to these holy fangs, then we'll do our best to help them and get out of town. Because, well, quite frankly, if we have a shot at building this rebellion, the best place to go is for the rebels that have already got this kind of this area on the ropes.
Regardless, don't mean to sound cocky here, but we do have a little bit of a trump card in getting them on our side, considering just kind of like gestures to himself in the golden scales glittering in the candlelight. Yeah, sounds like they might be interested in having a golden dragonborn on their side if they're trying to rebel against the Silver Queen. Whether they need our help or not at the moment tomorrow, I think I could probably get us in. The main issue is just making sure we don't lose them afterwards.
I'm not too worried about losing them. If it's an ambush, there's multiple people leaving multiple tracks. We probably could track them back to the camp quite easily, unless they take measures, but we could definitely attempt to follow them.
Oh, sounds like we have a plan then. Think we kind of station ourselves in the center of town and wait for this caravan of slaves to come through, and just hope to God that the Holy Fangs hop on in. And if they don't, then I will surely be following this caravan of slaves from my hometown, and I'll be freeing them regardless. But, fingers crossed, the Holy Fangs do their job as they have been doing.
Sounds good. Perhaps we get some rest then, and seems like we have a long day ahead of us tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, you guys all turn in for the night. Anything you guys need to do before awakening in the morning?
Just my usual, cast good berries, so I have the berries for the whole day.
Okay, yeah, for sure. You guys turn in for the night, and it is pretty uneventful. The smell of cooking bacon and eggs awakens you as it kind of wafts upstairs. You hear several other patrons kind of make their way noisily down the stairs to get breakfast and go about their day. So you guys kind of all awake downstairs. Telvin is slinging quite a bit of eggs and bacon. He's fried up quite the batch of breakfast. Welcome, welcome. Here's your breakfast as promised with the rooms. Please help yourself. He lays out a giant plate of eggs and bacon. Everybody go ahead and give me perception checks as you kind of come downstairs for breakfast.
Glader would have kind of waiting till the last minute, like right before he stepped out of the room, used the girdle again to change back into a bronze dragonborn.
Okay, and you hid your family crest things and whatnot.
Yeah, same thing I did as entering in the town, kind of putting the shield on my back, flipping the tabard inside out, and hanging over.
14 perception for Locris.
17 for Logus.
17 for Glader. Blade got a 19. All right.
Okay, so enough of you kind of notice, like, as you're chowing down and eating breakfast, the you can hear the clip clop of hooves, and it sounds like outside is you hear kind of a little bit of a ruckus. You hear people booing and boo, as this clip clop comes coming right down Main Street. You can assume is this caravan of slaves or whatnot, but you hear a lot of commotion going down from outside, and a couple of people actually rush into the tavern, and they turn their it's a young girl rushes in first, and she's like beset. She tears in her eyes, and she just kind of cries in the corner. And shortly after, a young man rushes in and comes in and tries to console her. He just kind of holds her in his arms for a bit and lets her cry into his chest, but clearly disturbed about people being marched through town.
Yeah, Glader's just gonna stand right up and maybe shovel a few more pieces of bacon in his mouth as he starts walking towards the door to the outside the tavern.
Okay.
Logus is going to put a couple pieces of bacon in his pocket and then follow.
All right. I assume the rest of the party is going to wander out there with you guys, trying to check out this commotion. You notice that there are several carts, and now these are like not the same carts you guys discovered in Hotma. Well, not all the same. All 7 of these carts are cage carts, and in Draconic, written along the side, which you could point out, I guess, Locus and Glacier or whomever else speaks Draconic. The wagons are labeled, to give the public the appearance that everyone inside is a criminal and they're all rebels. And you notice men, women, and children inside these cages are bound and gagged, similar to how they were in Hotma. I mean, they're blindfolded, they're gagged, they have their hands lashed behind their back. Not only that, they have an iron collar and iron shackles that are chained together. They are essentially restrained in every sense. They aren't even allowed to see where they're going. And there are 7 cages just chock full of these slaves. And each cage is escorted by several men wearing cloaks and halflings as they kind of march down the street towards the large stone structure you guys saw. It was the guard barracks that flew the colors of the Silver Queen. And it's just slowly marching its way in that direction, and the crowds kind of line on either side of the road. You notice some people turn their head in disgust. Some people kind of scowl and don't try to participate in the heckling of
these slaves, but a lot, or captives rather, but a lot of the population does believe these people to be criminals and is, shouting things, good riddance and boo, take them to jail. And you notice the occasional, bit of produce hurled, towards the cages at the captives. But, it's kind of a gruesome scene as they make their way down towards the guard barracks. And, as the lead wagon arrives, the man in the purple, the silver dragonborn with the purple cape that had greeted you guys the day before, walks out to greet the lead wagon. The lead wagon is also, you notice, similar to the carriage, the metal carriage you guys had that was destroyed by the Onkegs. Back again, the Silver Dragonborn kind of calls out, and with so many, the commander kind of continues, you always impress, and he grins and he bows, and as they kind of go about bantering, the leader mentioned, we got quite the haul, and well, we need to store a few of these individuals in your jailhouse while we go and pursue a few others. The main branch has continued on, but we turned off to dump some cargo and go fetch a few more. We got a hot lead, And the Silver Dragonborn commander kind of smiles and yes, all right, yeah. And just then, a lot of things happen at once. I'm gonna need everybody to give me a perception check for after what I'm about to narrate. So go ahead and roll a perception check for me. Just then, several loud explosions and the clash of steel and screams erupt through the street. Several more small explosions, followed by the entire scene and surrounding area bathed in a thick white smoke. More screams and clashes of steel echo forth from sources unknown within the cloud of blinding smoke. And as it clears, you see the throng of captives, now freed, fleeing in all directions. A few knights in shining armor, covering each of their faces with gold-colored bandana. All of these knights are Golden Dragonborn, look to be helping the remaining captives escape, or finish off the few wounded or struggling guards and slavers with single clean fell swoops of a blade. You guys being outside are just almost pummeled by a running crowd as they are just rushing by you, trying to escape for their lives. All of this happened very, very quickly, and you guys are kind of amazed to see that there's only 3 of these knights finishing a few things off. A bell rings in the distance. Another squadron of silver soldiers rounds a nearby corner and unleashes a battle cry as they rush towards the small crew of golden knights. They turn to deftly flee, looking to be quite capable. One turns and looks towards the party, at first paying them no need, but essentially he does a double take. Once he looks back at the party and does a double take, he reaches deep into his cloak, his golden billowing cloak, and hurls a dagger through the air, right at your face, Gladier. So everyone go ahead and give me the perception check, but Gladier, you're also going to have to give me a dexterity saving throw.
This got a 21.
Glader got a 10.
Dirty 20 for Lucas.
14 for Blade.
17 for Renwick on that perception.
Okay, so you guys notice that As this dagger comes flying through the air, what was that? Give me a dexterity saving throw, Gladier. A dex saving throw?
11.
Oh, okay. So,
Great hits.
Gladier catches this dagger straight in the face. Gladier, you take three bludgeoning damage, actually. As the rest of you who rolled pretty high on your perception checks notice that the Gladier that just bounced off of, the dagger that just bounced off of Gladier's face is very fancy indeed. It's golden color and it doesn't look to be removed from the sheath before it was thrown. But in a flash, in an instant, just as quick as it began, each of the three knights burst into a little, like, golden, sparkly explosion of smoke. Each one of them, pa 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 pa. And as quickly as it began, it is over. And the squadron of Silver Knights overcomes the area rather quickly and is shouting orders. They're ransacking the they're going through the different carts and cages. They've sent several soldiers out to try to recapture the criminals that have escaped. And, it's just kind of a big scene of fucking chaos as the smoke slowly clears. And those of you who passed your perception check did notice that the dagger was not unsheathed before it was thrown at Gladier's head.
Gladier's gonna kind of stand there stunned for a second before reaching down and picking up the dagger and taking a quick look at it, glancing it over before he shoves it underneath his cloak.
It for sure has your family symbol on it. It has the Gethmara crest.
Ooh. Okay.
And with that, I think that is where we're going to have to end our adventure for the time, fellas.
You're just gonna leave us with the Raging Cliffy like that?
Raging Cliffy. Nobody's going down today.
You guys don't want to play for like another 3 hours? I'm gonna work tomorrow.
I mean, at this point, yeah, I kind of do. You can't drop the fucking holy fangs and then just leave us with the Gethmara clan symbol on the dagger.
Just give us a Wikipedia outline of it.
It sounds good. I'll get right on that.
God damn it, Sean. I'm fucking pumped about this. I don't want to wait.
I know, I can call in. We can do a 24-hour sesh.
Yeah, it's not like Will and I are brewing one of the biggest beers of the year tomorrow. Giant pain in the ass.
That's what energy drinks are for, and coffee.
I mean, I already drink like pot a day by myself, so I guess I could up my intake and just blow my heart out my chest.
I mean, you could do both and make a sick ass coffee beer. So you could do You could do dumb shit faster.
We actually have a coffee beer right now that's got coffee in the mash and then cold brew that we make mixed into it before we can it. So it's potent. We'll definitely be having one of those at some point tomorrow.
I just have to say, I fucking love the role playing sessions just as much as the combat sessions. Just so much shit that can happen. It's just so much fun.
It's
dude,
like,
all the plot bombs tonight. Holy shit.
but who's this half elf bitch? She's stressing me out.
Dude, for real, when she grabbed Locris, I was like,
oh no.
I didn't even know what to say, dude, because at first I was going to be like, well, I'm going to get up and put my bow in her face, but then I was like, that's not a good idea.
You did.
Because my first reaction was to get up and get, put force with force, but then I was like, let me just see how this plays out. But Jeez.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going down my spell list when that happened. Like, okay, what can I do?
Jesus, yeah. So we've already managed to make our presence known to one of the Silver Queen's magical generals, basically. So, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, it's a Silver Queen. She's in disguise. It's her. She's here. That's what I was thinking. But
No, it's too early in the story for that. Sean
She's hunting you
is
down
too
personally.
creative to give us the Silver Queen in session 7.
I mean, if you guys want to TPK that bad, but I mean, essentially it was up to you. You could have gone south instead of north from Hotma, which would have put you, a session or two away from actually reaching the Silver Keep.
yeah, we're not trying to die that soon.
Nope.
Something says
Well, fellas, as always, had a blast. I'm gonna have to let you guys go. I gotta go pick up the old lady from work. She gets off like 20 minutes, so.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for another awesome session, man. I'm
for sure.
fucking stoked that
I
we
promise
just
I'll try to
witnessed
kill you
the
guys
entrance of the
harder.
holy things.
Next time.
all right, catch you guys later.
Later,
Hey,
guys.
guys.
Night, y'all.